Chapter 136. First time casting her interpersonal network. One first heard his voice, then saw his person. Yi Qinghan was still dressed in a dark patterned black robe, and had an outstanding temperament, but if one looked closely, one could still find that in addition to his excitement, there was also a slight haggard feeling. Qinghan. Lu Muyan put down the teacup and stood up with a smile. Yunlan also got up and greeted. Young Lord Yi. When Yi Qinghan saw that aside from Lu Muyan, Yunlan also came, he was surprised in his heart but didn't reveal it on his face. There was still a slight smile on his face. Muyan, third prince, take a seat. Yi Qinghan sat down opposite the two of them, and there was less of a feeling of distance compared to when he faced others. Muyan, third prince, you two didn't even send a message before you came. I could have prepared. He didn't want to believe that Lu Muyan was dead when he was in the glacial mountain range. He originally wanted to wait for her to come out of the lava pool. Yet who knew that he and his younger sister were forcefully knocked unconscious by his little paternal uncle and taken away. After returning to the Yi clan, he had constantly been inquiring about any news of Lu Muyan. Little paternal uncle had told him that Lu Muyan was already saved by Monarch Ming, and he believed it firmly in his heart, but had been worried the entire time, and had been absent-minded in everything that he did. Now that he personally saw Lu Muyan alive without any losses, his heart that was hovering had finally been placed back down. I came here to cure Elder Yi and Qing Le. My elder cousin brother wanted to discuss sword skills with you. It was all spontaneously decided, so we didn't send news first. Lu Muyan smiled. Where's Qing Le? Qing Le is attending to some guests. I've already asked people to call her. As soon as Yi Qinghan's words fell, Yi Qinglu rushed in from outside the gate, then hugged Lu Muyan and rubbed her shoulder with her head. Elder sister Muyan, I just knew you'd be fine. Lu Muyan's heart softened a bit, and she reached out her hand to pat Yi Qingle's head, then said with a smile, I've got a lot of luck. Yi Qinglu let go of Lu Muyan, and sat next to her, affectionately hugging her arm, saying, Elder sister Muyan, you didn't even say a word in advance before coming to the Yi clan. You made elder brother and I worried to death. Well, isn't it so that I could give you both a surprise? Lu Muyan scraped her beautiful nose with a bit of pampering in her eyes. I was just wondering why Qinglu was running so fast, so it turned out that young Miss Lu came. A clear and melodious voice sounded in the hall. As soon as Lu Muyan looked up, Shifeng, Mu Yi and a beautiful woman in blue came in. This is... Lu Muyan smiled lightly and looked at the woman who spoke. She had seen this woman before, but they had never spoken to each other. My name's Wuxia. We saw each other at the glacial mountain range last time. Wuxia's attitude was rather friendly, and she wasn't hostile to Lu Muyan like Xueling and the others. Lu Muyan smiled softly. Greetings, young Miss Mu. Ever since the glacial mountain range, I've been more interested in young Miss Lu. Don't mind making a friend? Wuxia said naturally and unrestrained with a smile. Naturally, I don't mind. Lu Muyan usually preferred refreshing and straightforward women, so her impression of Wuxia was rather good. Yi Qinglu smiled broadly. Elder sister Muyan, Wuxia is also my best friend. I can see it. Lu Muyan was very lenient on the lively and cheerful Yi Qinglu. Young Miss Lu, third prince. Shifeng and Mu Yi nodded to them. Lu Muyan and Yunlan also exchanged a polite greeting. Young Lord Shi, young Lord Mu. Who knew that young Miss Lu could survive even after falling into that lava pool? You've truly hidden your skills well. Mu Yi said with a smile. Come and read on our website, Wuxia World site. Thanks, it was just a fluke. Lu Muyan said modestly. Mu Yi lowered his head and smiled, obviously not believing in her excuse, but he didn't say much in fear of rousing dislike from her. Yi Qinghan checked the time of day and stood up, saying to the few people, Dinner is ready, let's take a seat at the table together. Sure. The several people were led by Yi Qinghan to the dining hall for dinner. After dinner, Yi Qinglu hugged Lu Muyan's arm tightly and said enthusiastically, Elder sister Muyan, sleep in my courtyard tonight. Lu Muyan just so happened to want to check on Yi Qingle's body, so she nodded. Sure. Young Miss Lu can heal Elder Lu's chronic illness? Shifeng remained expressionless and silent ever since their meeting to the end of the meal. and only lifted his head to ask when Lu Muyen and Yi Qinglu were about to leave, why there was any connection between Lu Muyen and Yi Qinghan. All of the 10 distinguished clans except the Ling clan had gone to investigate the reason, so they naturally also knew that Lu Muyen had treated Elder Lu before. Indeed, Lu Muyen didn't conceal it either. I came to the Yi clan this time specifically to treat Elder Lu and Qinglu. Soon, Shed removed the fetal poison for Yi Qinglu, so instead of letting these people investigate it themselves, it was better to say it herself. It could even instead rouse good feelings of her among them. Judging from the familiarity between Mu Yi, Shifeng and Yi Qinghan, the relationship between the 3 clans in secret was probably very intimate, and there had long been an alliance. She wanted to help the Ling clan deal with the Shui clan and Xian clan, so it was the best choice to develop a good relationship with these 2 young lords. But in this continent where strength was respected, there were prerequisites for forming a good relationship. In terms of impressive family backgrounds, the Lu clan was inferior to the 10 distinguished clans, so Mu Yi and Shifeng wouldn't lower themselves on purpose to befriend her just because she was the Lu clan's descendant, or because she was the granddaughter of the Ling clan. Aside from family background, the only reason for these proud, favored children of heaven to be completely convinced and befriend someone was only strength. She was an alchemist. In others' eyes, she couldn't be compared to the alchemists of older alchemist clans like the Shi clan, but if she could cure the chronic illness and poison that even the Shi clan's grade 4 alchemists couldn't cure, then even if she didn't take the initiative, the 2 clans' younger generation would naturally want to think about befriending her. This time, she came because she thought that participating in the continental tournament for hegemony would delay some time, so she took some time out to come to the Yi clan to cure the poison for Elder Lu and Yi Qinglu first. 1, it was because of the promise, and 2, because of her affection towards them. It's just that now she actually met the Shi clan's young lord and the Mu clan's young lord, then she'd naturally have to get acquainted with and befriend them. Those that lived in this world and silently cultivated alone were generally those wandering cultivators who had no one to depend on, and without anything to care about. As a daughter of the Lu clan, she needed to share the burden for her clan, and so it was also important to associate with powerful forces and cast her interpersonal network. And the one thing that alchemists and smiths didn't lack were social connections. This was something that she had already deeply experienced in her previous life. A high-level alchemist or smith didn't even need to take the initiative to make friends with others, and there'd still be countless people who sent themselves to their door to weave a reliable network of connections. With one word, numerous powerhouses would become the forces behind them. This was also one of the reasons why the Shi, Mu and Yi clan have been standing in the top 3 of the 10 distinguished clans for forever, and one of the reasons why the other clans simply didn't dare to provoke them. To cure Qinglu? You can cure her fetal poison? Wuxia's eyes were filled with bewilderment and suspicion. Although Lu Muyen displayed strong combat power, but the poison that even the ancestor of the Shi clan couldn't cure after trying, could a teenage sword master cure it? Obviously it was incredulous. Shifeng didn't display any excessive expressions on his face as usual, but there was a hint of interest in his eyes. In his heart, he also didn't think that Lu Muyen could cure Yi Qinglu's fetal poison, but he wanted to see just what she possessed to be so confident. Young Miss Lu, if you don't mind, could you let me watch how you cure the poison? Come true. Chapter 137. Pretending to be calm or actually capable. Hearing Shifeng ask this, let alone Mu Yi and Wuxia, even Yi Qinghan wanted to. Lu Muyen smiled indifferently and said, "You can, but I need to treat Elder Lu's chronic illness first. Do you also want to watch?" Elder Lu's chronic illness was much easier to treat than Yi Qinglu's fetal poison. Young Miss Lu is so generous, then I won't be polite. Shifeng nodded. Many years ago Elder Lu was injured by a sword monarch's sword aura. His meridians were blocked and his cultivation base halted. The Yi clan also used to spend high prices to invite many pharmacists or alchemists to treat him, and even a grade 3 alchemist of their Shi clan came to see him. But in the end, they ended up unable to heal the illness. He had also studied Elder Lu's chronic illness and thought of a method, but it was too dangerous, so he had never proposed it. Now he wanted to see just how Lu Muyen cured this type of chronic illness. Mu Yan, you don't mind if 2 more people watch, right? Mu Xiao's heart also felt as if it had been scratched by a cat one. Yi Qingluo was her bosom friend. If she couldn't cure the fetal poison, then she wouldn't live past 18 years old. Even if she didn't believe that Lu Muyan could cure it, she still felt an inexplicable hope rise in her heart. I don't mind. Lu Muyan didn't care how many people watched her treatments. She had a calm and firm disposition, and few people could affect her from applying needles. Mu Yan is indeed straightforward. I'm definitely befriending a person like you. Mu Xia liked women who weren't pretentious, and Lu Muyan's straightforwardness suited her taste very well. Lu Muyan smiled at her, turned her head and looked at Yi Qinghan, saying, Qinghan, find a peaceful and quiet place and invite Elder Lu over, please. All right. Yi Qinghan ordered the people behind him, then took the several people to a quiet courtyard in the Yi clan. The people chatted idly and waited, while Lu Muyan and Mu Xia also felt as if they had been friends for many years, and were very agreeable with each other. Especially Mu Xia. She found that no matter what she was talking about, Lu Muyan had things to say, and was very insightful. Even Mu Yi and Shifeng, who were sitting by their side, couldn't resist, but look askance at them. About a quarter of an hour later, Yi Zhan in a simple attire, and an elegant middle-aged man walked in, followed by Elder Lu and a red-haired old man. Yi Qinghan and Yi Qingluo were surprised to see both of them. Dad, little paternal uncle. Uncle Yi, Senior Yi. Mu Yi and the others immediately stood up and greeted the two in front formally. Nephews and nieces are too polite. The elegant middle-aged man waved his hand with a smile, then cast his eyes on Lu Muyan and said, smiling, This is the little girl of the Lu clan, yes? Greetings, Uncle Yi. Lu Muyan addressed politely. We welcome you and the third prince to the Yi clan. Yi Chen displayed some kindness in his eyes, and he and Yi Zhan walked to the other side and sat down. Let's all sit. Elder Lu and the other old man in red also found a place to sit. Then they looked at Lu Muyan together. I've heard that Lu girl doesn't mind others watching when treating illnesses. Yi Zhan and I also came to join in the fun. If it's inconvenient, then we'll leave first. Yi Chen smiled and said to Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan said neither humbly nor haughtily. This junior does not mind. Her tone was very light, evidently not nervous about 2 big Buddhas watching her. Her humble attitude carried confidence, which actually made everyone here think even highly of her. Lu girl, feel free to let loose your hands and feet 3 and perform freely. We won't disturb you. This was a guarantee. Lu Muyan nodded with a smile, then walked to a seat beside Elder Lu and sat down. Elder Lu, how have you been? Greetings, young Miss Lu. This old man is very glad to be able to see young Miss again. Elder Lu's tone was very affectionate towards Lu Muyan, and his eyes hid faint excitement. Come and read on our website, Wuxia World site. Thanks, I'll take your pulse first. Elder Lu stretched out a hand and put it on the table between the 2 seats. Please. Lu Muyan placed 2 fingers on Elder Lu's wrist, and she also probed into his body with a sliver of mental energy to understand the situation. After a while, she retrieved her hand and asked, Recently, when the chronic illness breaks out, the pain isn't as severe as before, right? Ever since the last time young Miss treated me with the golden needles, I'm no longer pained to the bones, nor wish to rather die than live, which were things that I used to feel every 3 months when it breaks out. Even if there is a little feeling of pain, it was just like tickling, as if nothing. Elder Lu smiled sincerely. Elder Lu, is it that you can now absorb some spiritual force and run it in your dantian, but it can't remain for a long time? Lu Muyan continued to ask. Elder Lu nodded. Indeed, but this old man is already very pleased to be able to absorb spiritual energy again. It is all thanks to young Miss treatment last time. Elder Lu is too polite. Lu Muyan smiled. I already have a cure for your chronic illness, and I can cure it as long as I refine a pill and pair it with the golden needles. If the young Miss can truly cure this old man's chronic illness, then this old man will owe you a life. Elder Lu clasped his hands together tightly. Only he could deeply understand the feeling of having found something again that he had lost. Lu Muyan smiled lightly and said, I had a deal with Qinghan before, and he's already paid for the fees for your treatment. I'm just here to fulfill it, So Elder Lu has no need to be this formal. Elder Lu, just take the treatment with a peace of mind. I'll discuss with Mu Yan about the repayment. Yi Qinghan looked at Elder Lu with a smile on his lips. Just let him repay this favor. Elder Lu wasn't quarrelsome either, so he cupped his hands at Lu Mu Yan, gratefully saying, "A mere thank you is an insufficient response to such a huge favor. Then I will trouble young Miss Lu." Lu Mu Yan took out a brush and paper from her interspatial ring and wrote a list to hand to Yi Qinghan. "These are the spiritual herbs I need to refine the pill. Please prepare a portion." As soon as Yi Qinghan was about to take it, the red-haired old man next to Elder Lu smiled and said, "Little girl, can you let this old man take a look at your spiritual herbs list?" Lu Mu Yan knew the other was also an alchemist, so she smiled and passed the paper into his hands directly. The red-haired old man took the list and read it once. Then confusion rose in his eyes. He had never seen a pill formula composed of these spiritual herbs before, and he had a thought in his heart. "I have all these spiritual herbs in my interspatial ring. Will little girl refine the pills now?" He really wanted to see what this little girl was capable of, and what kind of pills she wanted to refine. "Then I trouble Senior to take out the spiritual herbs. Oh, refine it now." Lu Mu Yan also didn't want to delay any more time. All these people remained here undoubtedly because they wanted to see her capabilities, so she'll just confidently and naturally let them see enough. The red-haired old man didn't hesitate either, immediately took out the spiritual herbs that Lu Mu Yan required from his interspatial ring one by one, and placed it in front of her. These spiritual herbs weren't that rare, but they were mostly medicines for dredging and promoting blood circulation. He usually carried some with him, but who knew it could be of use now? Lu Mu Yan swept the spiritual herbs on the table with her eyes. Seeing that the age of each were relatively high, she took out the cyan cauldron with satisfaction, and was ready to start refining pills in front of everyone. "Mu Yan, do you need us to withdraw for you to refine pills?" Yi Qinghan knew that many alchemists liked to work independently when refining pills, and didn't like to be disturbed by outsiders. Lu Mu Yan didn't expect Yi Qinghan, a man, to be so attentive, but she didn't have those habits. She had already refined pills in front of the imperial family before, so whether there were people or whether there were none didn't have much effect on her. "No problem, no need to withdraw." Her words also increased the interest in the eyes of the people present. They sure wanted to see if she was just pretending to be calm, or whether she was actually capable. Translated product by May R. Come true. One feeling as if a cat scratched one's heart simply means they were very curious. Like itching with curiosity. Two Buddhas here simply means important people. It can often be used sarcastically, though in this case, it's just merely used to describe two significant people. 3. Telling Lu Mu Yan to have no qualms and do what she needs to, basically to relax herself. Chapter 138. Messing around? Or well-hidden skills? Under everyone's expectations, Lu Mu Yan threw a wisp of fire condensed from fire elemental energy into the cyan cauldron. She hadn't formed a core yet, so she couldn't use the core flame. But this continent had one factor that was better than the immortal cultivation world, and that was elemental energy condensation. After advancing to Sword King, the elemental energy flames that she condensed to use for refining pills weren't inferior to core flames at all. Of course, if she used the purple gold spirit flame to refine pills, then it'd be the best, but she didn't want to expose her trump card. Shifeng and the red-haired old man stared at her refining pills, and were startled when they saw that she had thrown the spiritual herbs into the cauldron one after another in a row. This little girl truly is messing around. Where do you see such a way of refining pills? The red-haired old man couldn't help furrowing his brows as he communicated telepathically to Shifeng. After all, there were only the two of them here who were alchemists. Shifeng folded his arms and sat quietly, but his heart couldn't calm down. Is she trying to combine the spiritual herbs together to refine? How could so many spiritual herbs combine to refine? Even your Shi clan's ancestor couldn't do it. I really question if she's just playing with us. The red-haired old man said angrily. Elder Lu and he were close friends. He was excited for a long time after hearing that someone could cure Elder Lu's chronic illness. Yet who knew had see such a disappointing scene? Alchemists needed to follow the principle of gradual progress when refining pills. After each spiritual herb was successfully refined, then they'd continue to refine the second, then eventually combine all the refined powders to condense the pill. But what was the Lu clan's little girl doing? Throwing all the spiritual herbs into the cauldron indiscriminately. Did she think she was cooking? Even when cooking, there was an order to the ingredients, right? Seeing Lu Muyan's actions, Yi Chun and Yi Zhan couldn't help but feel a sense of disappointment in their hearts as well. Although they weren't alchemists, but they'd seen many alchemists refine pills. Lu Muyan's approach wasn't like something an alchemist should do. Could it be that she didn't know alchemy at all, and was just teasing them? But Elder Lu's condition was indeed controlled by her. Although disappointed, but no one in the room stopped Lu Muyan. They sure wanted to see how this girl would cure Elder Lu's chronic illness later. Lu Muyan naturally felt the complicated and disheartened gazes of several people. But she didn't care. What others couldn't do didn't mean she couldn't do it either. Her mental energy was several times, or even dozens of times that of other alchemists. Others could only slowly refine the spiritual herbs one by one, but she could do multiple tasks at the same time, and divide her spiritual energy into countless strands to envelop the spiritual herbs, control the flames and refine. The most important thing was that she didn't want to hide her abilities here. She needed the approval of these three distinguished clans in order to act more easily in the future. With a thought, Lu Muyan divided the flames in the cauldron into more than a dozen wisps, individually roasting each spiritual herb wrapped in mental energy. In just a moment, several small piles of different colored powders appeared in the cauldron, and they were all separated by mental energy. The cauldron actually didn't explode? The red-haired old man let out a soft gasp of surprise. He was originally counting down the time, waiting for Lu Muyan's cauldron to explode due to the random refining, but after waiting for so long, no abnormalities occurred. The most important thing was that he actually smelled the scent of successfully refined medicinal powder from the cauldron. Shifeng's expression didn't change, but he was very surprised and confused in his heart. How did she refine so many spiritual herbs at the same time? Yi Chun tapped his finger gently on his thigh. Seeing Lu Muyan calmly continuing to throw spiritual herbs into the cauldron, he spoke telepathically to Yi Zhan. Say, do you think she can really refine so many spiritual herbs at once? If it were under normal circumstances, she'd have failed the refining long ago. But I don't smell any burnt scent. Maybe. Although she's young, but she hides her skills well. Yi Zhan had always felt that Lu Muyan gave him an indescribable feeling ever since they first met. She seemed to be faintly dangerous, yet it didn't make sense. However, he didn't regard her as an opponent to be removed. That slight sense of danger was just an instinct, but there wasn't any feeling of terror, which indicated that Lu Muyan wouldn't be a threat to him. Lu Muyan had a variety of methods, but as long as she didn't disadvantage the Yi clan, then they could become friends. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. The several people no longer spoke, and watched Lu Muyan refine pills nervously. Seeing that she was still tossing spiritual herbs into the cauldron one after the other, they couldn't resist twitching their lips. This sort of method of refining pills was probably Lu Muyan's original creation. After about an hour, Lu Muyan had refined all the spiritual herbs in the cauldron. With a thought, the dozens of wisps of flames merged and formed a cluster of large flames. The medicinal powders of different colors were wrapped by mental energy and merged together. She constantly changed the heat between small flames, medium flames, and high flames. Finally, her gaze sharpened. She controlled the fire excellently, and the rudimentary pills in the cauldron began to rotate, slowly growing lustrous and shiny. Up. After another quarter of an hour, her slender, jade-like hand slapped the cauldron, and 5 yellow pills flew out. A refreshing pill fragrance also spilled out from the cauldron, lingering on the tips of everyone's noses. She took out a white porcelain bottle, waved her hand casually in the air, and the 5 pills that had flown up fell into the porcelain bottle one after the other. After removing the elemental energy flame from the cyan cauldron, Lu Muyan also put the cauldron away. As soon as she looked up, she saw everyone stare at her with shock, especially the red-haired man and Shifeng. Their gazes were as if it could burn a hole through her. "Little girl, what kind of pill did you refine?" The red-haired old man looked at Lu Muyen in confusion. He had been staring at this little girl since she began to refine pills. All the spiritual herbs had indeed been used, and he could judge based on the pill fragrance from the cauldron that this was a type of grade 2 pill that had the effect of dredging the meridians and promoting blood circulation. However, it was obviously not enough to treat Elder Lu's chronic illness with just these grade 2 pills. He suddenly looked forward to the next performances of the little girl. Shifeng's eyes were filled with the desire to investigate. Lu Muyan's method of refining pills was simply unheard of. If it were another alchemist who dared to refine it like this, then the entire cauldron perhaps would have long been trashed. In such a short period of time, to be able to refine a grade 2 pill that they had never even seen before, it seemed that she really must have a mysterious high-level alchemist as a master behind her. This is a grade 2 vitalizing pill, specifically used to clear meridians blocked by sword auras or internal injuries. Lu Muyan explained with a light smile. Then how were you able to refine, merge and condense so many spiritual herbs into a pill altogether? The red-haired old man's heart itched with curiosity, and felt uncomfortable if he didn't ask. Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow and said, "Regarding this, please forgive me as I have no comment." He couldn't just tell them, "My mental energy is much stronger than yours, you all need to be focused when refining pills, but I can split my focus into multitudes." If she really said that, then even if she wasn't slapped to death, she'd probably be regarded as having some sort of mental illness. Lu Muyan answering like this instead made her more mysterious in the eyes of those present. It was only normal not to reveal such a secret. The red-haired old man also found himself to be abrupt and smiled awkwardly. "Apologies, this old man didn't intend to seek your methods of refining pills. I was just curious." Lu Muyan knew it was also unintentional. "No worries. Elder Sister Muyen, you're too amazing. When Uncle Wu refines pills, I don't even feel like he's as relaxed, calm and composed as you." Yi Qingluo had a face filled with admiration. The Uncle Wu she spoke of was the red-haired old man who had questioned Lu Muyen just now, and also the chief enshrined grade 3 alchemist of the Yi clan. Come true. Chapter 139. Show off again, eradicate chronic illness. Elder Wu had always been open-minded, so he agreed with Yi Qingluo's words. Little girl is indeed a good seedling for alchemy. Elder Wu revealed admiration in his eyes, then asked, "I heard that you already have a master." Lu Muyan nodded and admitted, "With such a talented disciple like you, your master must wake up with a smile from dreaming, right one?" Elder Wu joked. He secretly pitied that such a good seedling was dug up again by others and taken. When could he find a talented and satisfactory disciple himself? Lu Muyen smiled humbly. Elder Wu gives too much praise. Even she didn't know where her master was, so whether he'd wake up smiling from a dream or not was a real question. Although I've never seen your grade 2 pill, but from the pill fragrance I smelled just now, it's indeed top quality. But it's still not enough to treat Elder Lu's chronic illness, right? Elder Wu spoke the doubt in his heart. Lu Muyen took out a box made of 1,000-year ice from her interspatial ring and said, "Indeed it's not enough. I also need to use the golden needles and coordinate it with the pill to cure Elder Lu's chronic illness. Then you can start. This old man won't hinder you anymore." There was a look of expectation on Elder Wu's face. Lu Muyen handed the white porcelain bottle to Elder Lu and said, "Elder Lu, pour out one pill and take it, then push all the power of the medicine into the damaged and blocked meridians." All right. Elder Lu took the porcelain bottle, poured out a yellow pill and put it into his mouth without hesitation. When the power of the medicine was forcibly controlled by him to spread throughout the meridians in his entire body, he said, "Done." Lu Muyen took out a special dark golden needle from the profound icebox and warned him. "There may be some pain when I'm treating with the golden needles. If Elder Lu can't bear it, just say so. Young Miss Lu needs only to set your mind at ease to do what you need. As long as you can get rid of the chronic illness and I can cultivate again, I'll be willing to endure the pain no matter how painful it is." Elder Lu relaxed himself completely and said with a smile, "In the past 10 years or so, Every 3 months his illness would break out. He could even endure pain that made him rather die than live. Now that they were going to cure his illness, he wouldn't cower even more. Lu Muyen nodded with a smile, snapped her fingers, and a wisp of scarlet flame made from elemental energy condensation came out of her fingertip. She took the gold-colored needle and passed it over the flame before preparing to apply needles on Elder Lu. As soon as she took out the long golden needle from the profound icebox, everyone felt that there was a fluctuation of metal attribute elemental energy in the room. Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal. Mui stared at the dark, golden needle in Lu Muyan's hand with wide eyes and couldn't help exclaiming. The others followed his voice and moved their eyes to the dark golden needle in Lu Muyan's hands. After a closer look, it turned out to indeed be the Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal. Then they scanned the profound icebox, and there were actually more than 20 dark golden needles of varying lengths lying inside. With a look, it was obviously a set. This girl really was a prodigal. Where would one find anyone who wasted Heavenly Frost golden crystals like this? This was what everyone present thought. Yi Zhan looked deeply at the golden needle made by Heavenly Frost golden crystal in her hand. Then he remembered the Heavenly Frost golden crystal in his interspatial ring that had been frozen by an array, and was difficult to crack, and also couldn't resist holding his forehead. This girl wasn't only a prodigal but was also a little fox. After she cured Elder Lu's chronic illness, he had to have a good discussion with her. Elder Wu looked at the Heavenly Frost golden crystal that had been refined into golden needles, feeling his flesh hurt. He could no longer describe his feelings. This girl was actually here to provoke people today, right? Lu Muyen actually didn't want to take out such cool golden needles, but using golden needles made by Heavenly Frost golden crystal was indeed more conducive to curing Elder Lu's chronic illness, so she could only be a bit high profile. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Did this girl snatch the Heavenly Frost golden crystal? Yi Chen asked Yi Zhan telepathically in astonishment. Yi Zhan smiled bitterly. No. That day, Monarch Ming snatched 3 pieces and Lan Si and I took a piece each. Although Lan Sis one was swapped back from me, but it must be for himself. The one in little Lu girl's hands must be from Monarch Ming. It seems that the relationship between her and Monarch Ming really isn't shallow. Could Monarch Ming be the respected master behind her? Yi Chen guessed that with Monarch Ming's status in the 9-layer hall, he shouldn't be too young. Plus it was said that Lu Muyen had a mysterious master, yet had never revealed themselves before. But with the familiarity between the two, they probably had a master-disciple relationship. Yi Zhan pondered for a while, then telepathically said, "That's hard to say, but if you can give the Heavenly Frost golden crystal to little Lu girl to be so prodigal with, then the relationship wouldn't be ordinary even if they're not a master-disciple relationship." Whenever they spoke of the Heavenly Frost golden crystal, Yi Chen felt his flesh hurt. This girl is too prodigal. The Heavenly Frost golden crystal was used by her to refine into golden needles for treatment just like this. If the other old fellows from the 10 distinguished clans knew, then wouldn't they be so furious? She's just that different from others. Otherwise Qing Han wouldn't have fallen for her. Yi Zhan's lips revealed a very faint smile. Yi Chen sighed. He also noticed his son's recent abnormalities. He was originally still a little opposed to him constantly thinking about a legendary trash from a small clan of Yanzhou Kingdom, but after seeing Lu Muyen today, he discovered that this sort of woman was indeed very attractive to people. She was full of spirit, was clever and bright, and had exceptional talent. The most important thing was that she wasn't humble nor haughty when doing things, not arrogant or impetuous, and carried a self-confidence and uninhibitedness. Among the younger generation of women in the eastern region, Lu Muyen was the girl with the best behavior and temperament. What trash, it seemed that those couldn't be trusted at all. The divination of the divine seer had never been wrong before, and this time was also made fact on Lu Muyen. Seeing Lu Muyen this time had completely changed the impression Yi Chen painted of her before, and he decided not to object to the fact that his son liked her. Such a woman was indeed qualified to be the future mistress of his Yi clan. She started applying needles. Yi Zhan's gaze always followed Lu Muyen. "Elder brother, watch carefully. She has her own set of methods for performing the art of the golden needles. Hearing this, Yichen immediately looked towards Lu Muyan and found that each time she used the golden needle, it was like forming an array, like forming seals in midair, drawing something, before piercing it into Elder Lu's body. He rubbed his chin and watched with some interest. Every time Lu Muyan applied needles, she'd collect spiritual energy that had been filtered in her green sea of fog onto the needle. She discovered that the filtered spiritual energy had the effect of repairing. The dark golden needles of various lengths seemed to come alive in her slender fingers. They constantly pierced into Elder Lu's body or pulled out and burned by the flame on her fingertip made by elemental energy condensation, then continued to be applied. Her movements were graceful, her face was so serious that others couldn't disturb her, and her forehead was gradually covered with a layer of fine sweat while her hands kept moving. Everyone quietly watched her apply the needles as if this wasn't a medical treatment, but a golden needle performance, exceptionally brilliant. Elder Lu gritted his teeth tightly. Not only did the prickling sensation all over his body not make him feel uncomfortable, but instead, he felt extremely excited. Those meridians that had once been blocked for more than 10 years were actually able to accommodate to the passing of the needle auras. And the feeling he once felt during the height of his power and splendor as a Sword King was slowly returning. Elder Wu stared at her applying the needles without blinking, and his eyes grew more and more shocked. This truly was a marvelous skill. On Shifeng's seemingly paralyzed face was a rare trace of astonishment. He stared, dumbfounded, at Lu Muyan applying the art of the golden needles, and attempted to remember every movement of hers. Finished. 2 hours later, Lu Muyan withdrew all the golden needles, revealing a satisfied smile on her gorgeous face. Come true, one a saying that means someone is so satisfied and happy about something even in his dreams. So her master must be exceptionally proud, happy and satisfied. Chapter 140. Prepared to extort, Lu Muyan finished in one go and performed the art of the golden needles to an exceptionally high level. The treatment was much better than expected. Elder Lu's closed eyes opened instantly, and a gleam of sharp light flashed through his cloudy eyes. He moved the muscles and bones of his whole body, and felt a trace of spiritual force spontaneously enter various meridians. It wasn't drained as fast as usual, and instead, sunk into the dantian along the meridians. The meridians previously injured by sword auras were all dredged, and even the years of internal injuries and hidden illnesses were healed by Lu Muyan. The spiritual force in the dantian gathered around bit by bit, and he once again felt an abundance of elemental energy throughout his entire body. He was so excited tears almost rose in his eyes. Young Miss Lu, a mere thank you is an insufficient response to such a huge favor. If one day this old man can be of use to you, then please don't hesitate to give orders. Elder Lu cupped his hands at Lu Muyan with gratitude. Elder Wu immediately got up and took Elder Lu's hand to feel the pulse while using his mental energy to inspect his meridians. His eyes were filled with shock. Is this art of the golden needles a legendary divine skill? Lu Muyan smiled without answering. She learnt this art of the golden needles from a genius doctor when she turned into a mortal in the mortal world. Later, she found a method that could naturally combine with the application of the needles in the heavenly grade alchemist's place of inheritance. That's why whether it was healing mortals or healing cultivators, its effects were all the same. If one wanted to call it a divine skill, then it wasn't as if they couldn't. She had always been very fortunate that she could obtain the inheritance of this art of the golden needles. Shifeng pressed his lips together and couldn't help but stand up and take Elder Lu's other hand to investigate. The shock in his heart was no less than Elder Wu. Young Miss Lu, this one is truly impressed by your art of the golden needles that you performed. Shifeng praised from the bottom of his heart. His original treatment method was far more dangerous than Lu Muyan's, and it didn't even heal at this speed or effect. This kind of golden needles art was something that could even convince the ancestors of the Shi clan if they came to observe. You too have overpraised, everyone has their own strengths. Lu Muyan smiled modestly. Moreover, this time, the length of treatment could be so short, and the fact that recovery is much faster than expected, was all thanks to this set of golden needles made by heavenly frost golden crystals. Elder Lu basically recovered after applying the golden needles, but that was in fact actually mainly because of the filtering effect of the green sea of fog in her body, and also the credit of the ice bangle. Except that it wasn't good for her to reveal that, so she pushed all the credit onto the golden needles made by Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal. Of course, the Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal was basically a spiritual item birthed from heaven and earth. After swallowed by a demonic beast, it could even help them shape their yaofu and break through a bottleneck, so it also had miraculous effects when performing golden needle treatments. When Elder Wu and Shifeng heard this, they couldn't resist twitching the corners of their lips. She sure spoke lightly. A Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal was hard to find even in 1,000 years. When sword masters obtained a small piece, didn't they all use it to refine magic tools? Could be so prodigal like this girl. Little girl, is this the only set of golden needles made from Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal you have? Elder Wu asked as he looked at the golden needles in the 1,000-year profound icebox with fiery eyes. Lu Muyan smiled calmly and said, "Yes. I got a small piece from Monarch Ming, and used it all to refine this set of golden needles. If Elder Wu wants to forge some, then I could help." She paused, then blinked and added, "Senior Yizhan still has a piece of Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal." Yizhan looked at her without a good attitude. This little fox. The Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal in his hands had greater use. How could he be such a prodigal like her? Elder Wu glanced at Yizhan, and dispelled the thoughts in his heart. Such a spiritual item could only be encountered by chance, so he didn't force it. This old man was just joking. Elder Wu smiled shyly. "Elder Yi, don't you have 2 Heavenly Frost Golden Crystals in your hand? Can you possibly cut your love and give me a small piece? Our Shi clan will definitely give you a rich gift of thanks." Shifeng was a medical madman. Aside from alchemy, he also liked to study medical skills. This time, seeing Lu Muyan using the golden needles to heal the illness, his heart also itched to give it a try. Mu Yi's eyes moved, and he clasped his fists to Yizhan and said, "Senior Yi, our Mu clan is also willing to spend a high price in exchange for a small piece of Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal." Yizhan smiled helplessly. "Even though I did obtain 2 pieces of Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal, but after exiting the glacial mountain range, Lanxi swapped that piece back. The remaining one is of great use to me, so you two can only think of other ways. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. When the two heard him say this, their eyes revealed disappointment. They came to visit the Yi clan this time, 1, for the things regarding the continental tournament for hegemony, and 2, to inquire about Yizhan's attitude, seeing if he could cut his love and give a small piece. But now it seems there's no show. "Lu girl, you have a deep relationship with Monarch Ming. Perhaps you have more Heavenly Frost Golden Crystals." Yizhan turned the conversation on its head and threw the topic to Lu Muyan again. Mu Yi and Shifeng's disappointed eyes lit up, and they looked at Lu Muyan one after the other. "No more. It wasn't easy for me to get some Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal from him to refine this set of golden needles already. He's so stingy that he won't even give me any more." She complained with a look of innocence and loveliness. She secretly said in her head, "Ming Xiu, I'll just borrow your reputation to use a bit." Her attitude made everyone present think deeply. With such an intimate tone, the relationship between Lu Muyan and Monarch Ming must indeed be extraordinary. Originally, their attitude towards Lu Muyan was more of recognition. Now, because she had exposed her ability and Monarch Ming behind her, it also made the Yi clan's seniors, Shifeng and Mu Yi, feel the desire to befriend her. That's truly a pity. Mu Yi pulled out a smile with a little disappointment in his voice. But those things indeed couldn't be forced. "Mu Yan must be tired. Do you want to go rest first?" Yi Qinghan saw Lu Muyan reveal slight weariness, so he piped up and said with a considerate smile. Lu Muyan nodded. It really takes some effort to perform this art of the golden needles. Elder sister Muyan, you can follow me to my courtyard to rest." Yi Qinglu stood up and walked to Lu Muyan's side, hugging her arms affectionately. These old guys sure weren't ashamed of having ideas for Lu Muyan one by one. Yi Chun and Yi Zhang glanced at each other and said with a smile, "Little Lu girl indeed worked hard today. Go down and have a good night's rest first. Tomorrow let Qing Han and Qing Lu take you and the third prince to Luoxi City for a tour. Sure, then Mu Yan will bother you. Lu Muyan replied politely with a smile. After returning to Yi Qingle's courtyard with her, Lu Muyan said that she was tired, and went back to the room to rest first. When she returned to the room, she took out some spiritual tea to brew, poured 2 cups, and picked up a cup to taste first, obviously waiting for someone. Sure enough, it didn't take long before there were a few very small knocks on the door. "Senior Yi, please come in," she whispered. When she and Yi Qingle left, Yi Zhan had telepathically told her that he had something to discuss that night. That's why she prepared herself and waited for him to come. She also naturally knew what he wanted. Yi Zhan pushed open the door, then closed it again after entering. He walked to the place opposite Lu Muyan and sat down. He first took a sip of the spiritual tea in front of him, then placed it down and said with a smile, "Little girl really has very good tea-making skills. But it's a pity that the quality of this spiritual tea is too poor." Lu Muyan chuckled slyly. "Can't be helped, I'm too poor. Can't afford to drink high-quality tea. How about Senior Yi aid me a bit financially?" The last time she met Ming Xiu, she forgot to ask for high-level spiritual tea. Since Yi Zhan took the initiative to deliver himself to her door, then she'd feel too sorry for her own appetite that she had raised to be picky if she didn't extort some. Yi Zhan looked at her amusedly and couldn't help but curse inwardly. Little fox. Translated product by May Are Come True. Chapter 141. Bet on me. Lu Muyan's eyes narrowed into a crescent shape, and she displayed a rare look of a young cunning girl. Yi Zhan also knew that he would definitely be extorted of something by this little fox, so he took out 2 cans of high-quality spiritual tea he had collected from his interspatial ring. These are 2 of the best spiritual teas in the eastern region. Consider it as a meeting gift for you, little girl. Lu Muyan's bright eyes gained a radiance. She picked up a can of tea and opened the lid. A strong, fragrant scent flowed out, making one feel refreshed. The other can were spiritual tea's tea tips. The process of picking and frying was exceptionally complicated, and was even more precious. She put away the 2 cans of tea with a smile. Senior Yi is really generous, then Muyan won't be polite. Yi Zhan's eyelids twitched. You can still be polite? I wonder what Senior is here to find me for? Lu Muyan asked lightly and took a sip of her spiritual tea. You can call me Uncle Yi from now on. Yi Zhan also didn't dislike it and took a sip of tea as she did, then said leisurely, "You don't know why I'm looking for you? Little girl, the freezing array on the heavenly frost golden crystal, is your doing right?" Changing from Senior to Uncle Yi was also to express that he regarded Lu Muyan as important. Lu Muyan wasn't quarrelsome either. "Uncle Yi, you should be able to crack that array, right?" Yi Zhan was an unfathomable person. Although he was only at Sword Sovereign cultivation base, but he instinctively made her feel a mysterious aura. She believed that this person would be able to crack her array as long as he took some time. "Indeed, I can crack it. But it takes too much time. Since you're here in the Yi clan, then why should I do such useless work?" His time was very precious. Lu Muyan played with the teacup in her hand, her eyes deep, then said after a while, "Can I ask Uncle Yi a matter about the Shui clan of the 10 distinguished clans?" "Ask." Yi Zhan knew that Lu Muyan valued the Ling clan a lot, and he didn't like the Shui clan's ungrateful style of doing things either, so it didn't hurt to sell a personal favor to this little fox. The Shui clan really only has 2 sword sovereign powerhouses? Aside from working with the Xian clan privately, which other clans do they have close contact with? Ever since Lu Muyan saw the Shui clan's sword sovereign and Shui Ling in the glacial mountain range, she had always felt that their appearance wasn't truthful. Yi Zhan raised his head to face Lu Muyan and smiled lightly. "You girl sure observes carefully and considers things deeply. The Shui clan indeed has more than 2 sword sovereign powerhouses. The Shui clan's ancestor is actually someone else, and this person is already at peak phase sword sovereign cultivation base. He's currently in life or death seclusion in order to break through to Sword Venerable. I secretly received news that another pupil of the Shui clan broke through to Sword Sovereign. but they had hidden it and not announced it, so there are now 4 sword sovereigns in their clan. Their overall strength is actually only second after the top 3 distinguished clans. As for the other distinguished clans that the Shui clan has close contact with, I only know that there's also the Lu clan that's ranked 7th. Before, when the others were targeting the Ling clan, however, the Lu clan didn't participate. Yizhan also didn't conceal anything and told Lu Muyan everything that he knew. Lu Muyan furrowed her willow brows. It seemed that the Shui clan was indeed a thorny opponent. Little girl, you better not focus on dealing with the Shui clan and Xian clan right now. The Ling clan isn't as weak as you think. Otherwise they'd long have been kicked out of the ranks of the 10 distinguished clans. Yizhan had a favorable opinion of Lu Muyan, this junior, so though he rarely reminded people, he did to her. Lu Muyan's lips raised into an arc, and she blinked as she asked, "Then where does Uncle Yi think my current focus should be placed? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, naturally it should be placed on the Continental Tournament for Hegemony." Yizhan also knew that this little girl was a slippery head, so she must understand this principle. If you ranked in the top 100 and joined a sect, then are you still afraid you can't handle a little Shui clan? Uncle Yi, have you ever been to the other regions? Lu Muyan had actually always wanted to go to the other regions for a look. I've only been to the western region bordering the eastern region. I haven't been to the largest region on Tianling continent, the southern region, and the second-ranked northern region. Yizhan's eyes also revealed a look of yearning. Most of his previous time was spent on cultivation. Now that he had advanced to Sword Sovereign, he clearly felt that it was harder to break through the bottleneck, and it was much harder to improve his cultivation base. After he refined the Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal into a magic tool, he had decided to travel to the other 2 pieces of the continent, and believed he had the ability to protect himself as well. I heard from the principal of Empire Academy that the eastern region is the weakest among the 4 major regions, and even the 10 distinguished clans can only be ranked as third-rate forces in the other regions. Lu Muyan was rarely able to find someone to inquire about the news of other regions, so she continued to ask. Yizhan nodded. Indeed. The entire Tianling continent is very wide, and there are countless hidden clans. They're basically distributed in the northern and southern regions. Even the 6 major sects are built in the northern and southern region. Our western and eastern region basically can't be compared to them at all. Then do you know the 9-layer hall? Ming Xiu's figure rose in Lu Muyan's mind, and she couldn't help asking again. Yizhan looked at her with a smile, yet not quite a smile, and said, "Little girl, your questions have surpassed one matter by too much." Lu Muyan secretly cursed Yizhan old fox, but she didn't express it, and said with a smile, "Then does Uncle Yi want something from me? Do you have a pill that can enhance the strength of a demonic beast?" Yizhan asked after some silence. Lu Muyan's eyes revealed faint surprise, then said, "I do." "Is it useful to demonic beasts of transformation stage?" Yizhan's eyes revealed rare fluctuations. "Uncle Yi, you think too highly of me, no?" Lu Muyan shrugged and said, "I'm just a grade 2 alchemist. If I can refine a pill that can improve the strength of a demonic beast at the transformation stage, then I'd have been directly poached by the 6 major sects long ago. Why do I still need to sit here?" She really didn't have pills that could enhance the strength of transformation stage demonic beasts. She couldn't refine it either with her current cultivation base. Yizhan lowered his head and smiled. He was thinking too much. If Lu Muyan could really refine a pill that could improve the strength of transformation stage demonic beasts, then she'd probably be a monster. But, though I can't refine it now, it doesn't mean that I won't be able to refine it in the future. Lu Muyan revealed a confident brilliance between her brows and said with a smile, "Uncle Yi might as well make a bet right now and bet on me. If I become a grade 4 alchemist in the future, it'll benefit you a lot." Yizhan chuckled, his eyes filled with pardoning. "Since you have such confidence in yourself, then I might as well bet on you. Uncle Yi, you really have good eyesight. Don't worry, you won't lose." Lu Muyan revealed a joyful smile. Aside from that guy, Ming Xiu, this was the first time that she had such a pleasant conversation with a Sword Sovereign powerhouse. The nature of the method that Yizhan cultivated contained and pardoned everything. He was also charismatic himself, didn't put on airs, and had integrity. Such people were worthy to befriend. Of course, she didn't know that the pardoning and amiability wasn't the case in front of everyone. Haha, the clear and sweet male voice echoed in the room. Because Yi Zhan arranged a soundproof elemental energy cover, it didn't overflow out of the room. You girl is really interesting. Then can Uncle Yi talk about 9-layer hall now? Come true. Chapter 142. The harvest. From questioning, Yi Zhan took a sip from his teacup and concealed the smile on his lips. The 9-layer hall is a mysterious force in the southern region. It rarely appears in public, but is in existence even the 6 major sects don't dare to easily provoke. Lu Muyan's eyes were like ink as she continued to ask, "Is Monarch Ming the hall master of the 9-layer hall?" Yes. The corner of Yi Zhan's lips raised. Monarch Ming has only started roaming around Tianling continent in the last 3 years. His identity is extremely secretive and few people know it. Don't tell me that with the relationship between you and him, you still don't know these things? Yi Zhan was a little curious about just what sort of relationship it was between Lu Muyan and Monarch Ming. Lu Muyan smiled gracefully. Monarch Ming and I are just casual acquaintances. I had never inquired about the 9-layer hall from him. Otherwise I wouldn't be asking Uncle Yi. Just being a casual acquaintance would make someone jump into the lava pool, disregarding their own life, to save you? Would gift you a piece of the heavenly frost golden crystal, that will even be madly contested for by high-level powerhouses in the southern and northern regions? Little girl, who are you fooling? Yi Zhan raised an eyebrow, as if had believed the two of them were just casual acquaintances. He wouldn't happen to be the mysterious master behind you, would he? Then Yi Zhan asked tentatively. Lu Muyan remained slightly smiling, her eyes clear. Whatever you say is what it is then. Yi Zhan couldn't help but roll his eyes at Lu Muyan. This girl really was a sly fox. What did she mean by whatever he said was what it was then? It was obvious that she didn't want to reveal the relationship between them. I've answered all your questions. Now it's your turn to do something right? Yi Zhan no longer dwelled on the topic. Everyone had their own secrets, so he didn't want to delve into it. Lu Muyan nodded in cooperation. Take out the heavenly frost golden crystal. Yi Zhan took out the heavenly frost golden crystal that was still wrapped in ice and handed it to Lu Muyan. Are you able to resolve it now? Of course I can. Lu Muyan promised. She wrapped her hands over the heavenly frost golden crystal, muttered a few obscure words. Then beams of red light shone from the slits between her fingertips and instantly melted the ice on the heavenly frost golden crystal. Then a jade-colored rune belt circled the heavenly frost golden crystal, shining lightly and fluctuating faintly with elemental energy. She pointed 2 fingers and muttered, "Scatter." The jade-colored rune belt appeared as if it had intelligence as it jumped from the heavenly frost golden crystal and sunk into her body instantly. Done. Lu Muyan handed the heavenly frost golden crystal, with its array broken, back to Yi Zhan. Yi Zhan played with the heavenly frost golden crystal in his hands, and discovered that there was no trace of arrays on it at all. His evaluation of Lu Muyan was even higher now. This girl didn't only have exceeding talent in cultivation, and exceeding talent in alchemy, who knew that she'd even have such talent in arrays as well. Who knew how many people will be envious of her in the future? No wonder they said that people who had the terminal meridian's constitution were actually the real favored children of heaven. Fortune and misfortune were interdependent. Lu Muyan's talent after eradicating the terminal meridian's constitution could indeed be considered the best among prodigies. Even if placed among the talents of the younger generation in the 2 southern and northern regions, she wouldn't be outdone. Your talent in arrays is also very strong. You can already choose 3 among the 6 major sects. Yi Zhan's eyes revealed some praise. 3 among them? Why? Lu Muyan didn't know much about the 6 major sects. After all, Yanzhou Kingdom was only a medium-small kingdom in the eastern region, and the information they knew was very limited. Cultivation talent, alchemy talent, array talent. 3 of the 6 major sects have the advantage in these 3 specialties. Yi Zhan hid some regret in his eyes. What I know about the 6 major sects is only superficial. After all, there were practically none who entered a sect after participating in the continental tournament for hegemony from our eastern region each time. Why is it that I heard that Xue Ling's talent was so good that she could enter a sect directly after the tournament for hegemony? Lu Muyan asked in confusion. Yi Zhan smiled disdainfully. It isn't like it's that difficult for the pupils of the main bloodline with some talent to enter a sect, but that's only an outer titular pupil. The possibility of becoming an outer core pupil or an inner pupil is basically zero. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, of course. There are also those exceptionally talented, tough-minded pupils who choose to be an outer titular pupil. Then with their own efforts and by taking some appropriate opportunities, they may also soar into the sky. However, none of the superiors of the 10 distinguished clans are very supportive of this choice. Entering the sect like this is only just slightly good for the reputation. Yi Zhan thought a bit, then said, the Xue clan deliberately released this kind of news probably because they wanted to successfully put pressure on the Ling clan and annul the engagement. Xue Ling had always been a focus in the Xue clan to raise. Their goal must be to obtain a rank in the top 100 in the continental tournament for hegemony, and not just to be an outer titular pupil. So that's how it is. Lu Muyan's lips curled coldly. Xue Ling wanted to be ranked in the top 100 in the continental tournament for hegemony. As long as she was here, then she'd definitely prevent this scourge that could endanger the Ling clan and Lu clan from entering into the top 100 and become an outer core pupil of a sect. Little girl, do you still have anything else to ask? Though, I only know the surface of things about the 6 major sects and the southern and northern regions. I believe that you'll come into contact with that broader world one day, and you'll naturally come to understand it then. No more. I would like to thank Uncle Yi for resolving my confusions today. Lu Muyan smiled lightly and thanked. Although she only extorted 2 jars of high-level spiritual tea today, but it was also a great harvest to be able to gain so much information from Yi Zhan with her questioning. Yi Zhan's handsome and beautiful face revealed a soft, gentle smile. He stood up and said with a smile, today, you also spent a lot of energy on the treatment of Elder Lu. I won't bother your rest now. Uncle Yi, take care. Lu Muyan got up and saw him off. After Yi Zhan's figure disappeared into the night, Lu Muyan closed the door and thought. Early the next morning, Lu Muyan heard a knock on the door right after she just got up. She opened the door and saw that it was indeed Yi Qinglu and Wuxia. Qinglu Wuxia morning. Elder sister Muyan/Muyan morning. The two walked into the room and greeted her at the same time. Elder sister Muyan, let's go to the famous Stream Reflection restaurant of Luoxi City for breakfast. Yi Qinglu smiled sweetly. Lu Muyan nodded and said with a smile, well, do whatever you have planned today. Luoxi City was even bigger than the imperial capital of Yanzhou Kingdom, and she also wanted to wander around casually. Then let's go. Elder brother, Mu Yi and the others are already waiting in the front hall. Yi Qinglu smiled and pulled the two out of the yard quickly. Lu Muyan discovered that Yi Qinglu had a special excitement for going out. Qinglu, aren't you tired of roaming Luoxi City? How could I be tired of it? Yi Qinglu's eyes darkened. Then she smiled optimistically and cheerfully said, I actually only wandered around Luoxi City 3 times. I was detained at home by Daddy all year round because of my weak body. If it weren't that I took a medicinal pill to suppress the fetal poison before going to the glacial mountain range, and its effect hadn't yet faded, I wouldn't even be able to go out with you. At this time, Lu Muyan also remembered that Yi Qinglu was accompanied by the fetal poison all year round, and usually didn't have much energy to wander around. She held Yi Qinglu's hand tightly, smiled and promised, Qinglu, I will definitely heal you. I believe in elder sister Muyan. Yi Qinglu smiled beautifully with trust and sincerity in her eyes. In fact, even if Lu Muyan couldn't cure her illness, she wouldn't blame her. She got close to Lu Muyan not for the purpose of curing her illness. It was simply all because of the fate of one glance. The first time they met, she simply just liked this woman who was only 1 year older than herself, and she always felt a kind of intimacy in her heart. She believed that this was just a kind of fate between them. Chapter 143. The secret in the belly of the fish. Wuxia City was located in the core area with the most spiritual force in the eastern region. Even if one only walked on the streets, one could still feel the spiritual force that was more than 10 times denser than that of Yanzhou Kingdom. The group departed from the Yi clan and went for a short boat trip on the scenic central lake of Wuxia City first. In the central lake, a wide variety of fish or aquatic demonic beasts swam around, occasionally leaping up, then happily landing back down. This was the first time that Lu Muyan had seen this sort of scenery. She sat in the boat's cabin with great interest and watched the colorful fish swimming in the crystal-clear water. Occasionally, a demonic beast would swim out from the bottom of the lake, either to go eat some fish or threaten the other fish for fun. The central lake in Wuxia City is very interesting, right? Wuxia gently shook a celadon wine cup and said to Lu Muyan with a smile. Indeed, very interesting. Lu Muyan said with a light smile, thought a bit, then asked, there are so many demonic beasts in the lake, aren't people afraid they'd hurt someone? These demonic beasts had long been tamed by the Yi clan, and they won't hurt people. Yi Qinglu replied. Lu Muyan's calm eyes fluctuated slightly. So it turned out that the Yi clan kept such a lake specifically for the clan's pupils to practice beast taming skills. She wondered just who came up with such a method. It truly was ingenious. Owner, let me out, I can smell the scent of Jiangchuanglin fish. The voice of Bingji sounded in her sea of consciousness. Lu Muyan held her forehead. That stinky bird really couldn't stay quiet wherever they went. But she also didn't want to restrain him for too long, so she released him from the spirit beast bangle. Everyone felt Lu Muyan's spirit beast bangle fluctuate slightly, and an even-colored parrot fell on her shoulder. Little owner, one day apart is like passing 3 autumns. Bingji misses you to death. The moment Bingji came out, he used his head to rub Lu Muyan's shoulder, filled with flattering. Little owner was beautiful and fragrant. He would never go back into the spirit beast bangle again. Piu. Mui couldn't resist spitting out some wine after he heard the flattery of the 7-colored parrot. Lu Muyan, this woman really had everything. Lu Muyan couldn't help but twitch her lips. Couldn't this stinky bird be a bit more normal? Can you show off a little bit of the imposing manner of a Tier 8 demonic beast? Bingji's body stiffened. Then he said without a care, how can I show off the imposing manner of a Tier 8 demonic beast when you guys suppress my demonic energy? Besides, shouldn't one live life on this world freely and without restraint? Hearing the last sentence, Lu Muyan's eyes showed a rare look of approval. What the stinky bird said was also reasonable. Yi Qinglu looked at the 7-colored parrot curiously. Why did this ordinary-looking animal secretly exude a fearful pressure? Elder sister Muyan, your parrot is also a demonic beast? After Yi Qinglu's question, Yi Qinghan and the others looked up at Lu Muyan. Although they couldn't feel any demonic energy fluctuations from the 7-colored parrot, but they could still feel that he was extraordinary. He's a Tier 6 demonic beast. Lu Muyan also didn't conceal it. Otherwise, when the day came that Bingji revealed his true form, had be exposed anyways, so it was better to be honest. Yi Qinglu looked at Bingji a few more times in disbelief. Can a 7-colored parrot also cultivate to Tier 6? It's truly unheard of. Muyan's 7-colored parrot must be the transformation of some bird-type demonic beast, right? Yi Qinghan looked at Lu Muyan with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. Lu Muyan nodded. Indeed, that's how it is. Her calm expression and her excuse made everyone here admire her, and even envied her good luck. Of course, luck was also a part of strength. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, they all thought that Lu Muyan's master helped contract this Tier 6 spirit pet for her, and it could only be justified in that way. Lu Muyan, this woman, wasn't only amazing in terms of her combat power, and very strong in her alchemy talents, she was also secretive in other aspects. Qinghan, my bird's craving the Jiangchuanlin fish in this lake. Do you mind doing me a favor? Lu Muyan asked Yi Qinghan with a smile. Yi Qinghan waved his hand without care. Eat as much as you want. It's fine even if you eat all the fish in the lake. Go, but remember to take it easy. Lu Muyan turned her head and warned Bingji. Otherwise, with this stinky bird's natural disposition, he'd definitely eat all the Jiangchuanlin fish in the lake. Bingji pursed his lips, then flew out of the cabin and plunged into the lake, swimming here and there. Very soon he swallowed one Jiangchuanlin fish after another. This bird can also swim, how curious. Wuxia stared at Bingji's figure swimming in the water, and her eyes were filled with interest. Lu Muyan smiled. Could she say that he wasn't actually a normal bird, but instead a Xianluan divine beast's descendant? Is there a shop in Luoxi City that sells spiritual herbs and spars for smithing? She asked, changing the subject. Naturally there are, but high-level spiritual herbs and smithing spars are basically all sold at auctions or the headquarters of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. If you want to buy, then we can accompany you to stroll around when we get off the boat. Yi Qinghan explained. Mui pondered for a bit and asked, Mu Yen can also smith? Just scratching the surface of things. There's a smith at home, so I want to buy some materials to ask him to refine some magic tools for the juniors in the clan. Lu Muyen took a sip of wine. The taste was alright but lacked spiritual force, and actually made her have the thought to brew spiritual wine. Hearing what she said, all of them felt relieved. If she could even smith, then it'd really be a blow to their pride as the favored children of heaven. It's a pity that you don't learn smithing with such a deep comprehension of the fire elemental energy law. In the future, learn more from the smith of your clan, and maybe you'll become a master in smithing of the generation. Mui said half-jokingly. Lu Muyen nodded and said, I do have that kind of thought, but I don't have the extravagant hope to become a master in smithing of the generation. Although she knew a lot of smithing methods, but she actually didn't have a thorough understanding of smithing, and she was also only equivalent to this world's grade 5 or 6 level. Compared with the real masters of smith clans, she was still inferior. The only thing she did aside from placing her energy on cultivation in her previous life was immersing herself in studying alchemy and arrays. She, herself, wasn't very interested in smithing, and if it weren't because she wanted to refine her natal magic tool, she wouldn't deliberately learn it either. And even though she had the advantage of having been a body fusion stage almighty in her previous life in the immortal cultivation world, as well as having countless resources in cultivation, but she wouldn't underestimate the sword masters of Tianling continent. She had always known the principle that there were mountains higher than another. As for smithing, she guessed that guy, Ming Xiu's, grade definitely wasn't low, and he probably actually had amazing talent. After Bingji had eaten up 2/3 of the Jiangchuanlin fish in the lake, Lu Muyen immediately recalled him. I told you to take it easy, but you're about to eat up all the Jiangchuanlin fish in the lake. Lu Muyen secretly rolled her eyes at Bingji, who still looked as if he was not yet satisfied. Little owner, it's because you haven't ever experienced the delicacy of the Jiangchuanlin fish. This kind of fish isn't so simple. Bingji smacked his lips and telepathically said, How is it not simple? She also guessed that the Jiangchuanlin fish must have an aspect that attracted Bingji. This kind of fish will produce a pearl-like blue bead in its belly which contains the essence of water, which is helpful for comprehending the water elemental energy law. Bingji didn't conceal it either and even said with some pride, The most important thing is that the wonderful effect of this essence of water isn't known to everyone, and I just happen to know this secret. There must be a special way to absorb the essence of water, right? Lu Muyen asked after a little pondering. Translated product by May R. Come True. Big customer. Even if 1 or 2 people couldn't discover the wonderful effect of the bead in the belly of the Jiangchuanlin fish, it couldn't be that thousands, tens of thousands of people couldn't even discover it? She suspected that it was a talent of the Iceluan race. That's of course. Bingji raised his beak proudly and his small eyes rolled around. But if owner wants to learn this special method, then I can teach it to you for free. Lu Muyan's eyes lit up. She could comprehend all the elemental laws of this world, and had comprehended the fire elemental energy law the deepest, followed by the ice element. If she could comprehend the water element law more deeply, then that was even better. Can the blue beads in the Jiangchuanlin fish be preserved? Lu Muyen telepathically asked. Naturally it's possible. But there's practically no one on this continent who knows the wondrous effects of the beads in the Jiangchuanlin fish, so there shouldn't be anyone who would collect these water essences. Bing Ji said as he used his beak to comb his feathers. Lu Muyan's lips overflowed into an arc, then looked at Yi Qinghan and asked. A blue bead will appear in the abdomen of the Jiangchuanlin fish. Do you guys keep it? Although the blue beads contain some water elements, but they're of little use. The clan's warehouse seems to have collected a bunch for research purposes, and hasn't been used up. Yi Qinghan thought a bit. If you want to look for it after I go back and give it to you. Then many thanks. Lu Muyan stretched out her hand, gently flicked the head of the seven-colored parrot on her shoulder and said with a smile. This glutinous little thing just likes to eat that kind of blue bead the most. Bing J's eyes twitched. Little owner, right now it's obviously you who needs the essence of water, but you still blame it on me. Though the beads are useless, but they're delicious, so the more the better. But a divine beast is beneath the eaves of another, so he must bow his head one. Bing Ji could only cooperate with Lu Muyan, and so he said. Yi Qinghan chuckled softly. No problem. The boat's docked. Let's get off and wander around the city. Yi Qinghan saw that the boat had docked, so he said to the others with a smile. Sure. After entering the main street of Luoxi City, Lu Muyan discovered that this place was several times more prosperous than the imperial capital of Yanzhou Kingdom. Sword masters riding demonic beasts were everywhere on the streets, forming a special landscape. Are all the people living in Luoxi City Yi clan's people? Lu Muyan asked Yi Qinghan, who walked side by side with her. These sword masters would all respectfully greet Yi Qinghan. Most of them had demonic beasts by their sides, so they were probably all spirit beast masters. Not all. Luoxi City is a city under the jurisdiction of the Yi clan. Most of these people come from branches of the Yi clan, but there are also some who are outsider sword masters who settled here, though most of their identities are spirit beast masters. Yi Qinghan explained. Lu Muyan's eyes revealed understanding. No wonder the sword masters we encountered along the way basically all had demonic beasts as transportation. This really is worthy of being known as the city of spirit beast masters. Although there are many spirit beast masters in Luoxi City, but more than 9/10 remain as grade 1 or 2 spirit beast masters. Those grade 3 and higher are all in the Yi clan. Speaking of this, a smile and confidence rose on Yi Qinghan's handsome face. Then Qinghan's spirit beast master grade mustn't be low, right? Lu Muyan had a smile in her eyes. Yi Qinglu smiled and said, Elder brother is a grade 4 spirit beast master. Lu Muyan's beautiful eyes revealed some appreciation. Qinghan's talent is truly outstanding. Spirit beast masters, like alchemists and smiths, were divided into 9 grades. Grade 3 or lower could tame demonic beasts under Tier 4, while Grade 4 could tame demonic beasts at Tier 5. Under normal circumstances, based on the sword master's cultivation base, the spirit beast master could only control demonic beasts at least a stage lower than themselves. For example, Yi Qinghan, at Sword King cultivation base, could tame Tier 4 demonic beasts, and could only be a Grade 3 spirit beast master at most. So now that he was a Grade 4 spirit beast master, it belonged to a cross-stage contract, which also proved that his talent for taming beasts were excellent and powerful. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks being praised by Lu Muyan, the corners of Yi Qinghan's lips unconsciously raised into an arc. Ahead of us is the largest pill shop of Luoxi City. The spiritual herbs inside are relatively complete. Let's go and take a look. Sure. Shifeng's eyes also revealed some interest. Luoxi City had some special companion spiritual herbs too, which he was also very interested in. After walking for more than 30 meters, what one saw was a 3-story building with the 3 words 100 Herbs Hall written on an inscribed board in the middle. As soon as one entered the shop, 2 shop assistants immediately came up to greet them. Young lord, young masters and young misses, please come in. There were a few tables and chairs for guests to rest in the hall, all of which were filled with people. Inside there were 2 rows of counters where the shopkeeper, who originally had his head lowered to do accounts, immediately raised his head and greeted them with a smile after hearing the shop assistants. Greetings, young lord, young masters and young misses. Shopkeeper, take out 2 copies of your spiritual herbs list, and let us have a look. Yi Qinghan said lightly. Yes. Young lord, Young masters and young misses, please follow me to the distinguished guest room on the second floor. The shopkeeper respectfully led the several people to a private room on the second floor. Within the private room, there were a few flowers and plants placed in there, and the layout was rather refreshing, giving people a fresh and natural feeling. As soon as they sat down, 2 maidservants came in with teapots and poured tea for them. An attendant in the shop obeyed the shopkeeper's instructions and came in with 2 jade slips. The shopkeeper immediately picked them up and handed it to Yi Qinghan. Young lord, this is the list of all the items sold in our shop. Please take a look. Yi Qinghan handed the 2 jade slips to Lu Muyen and Shifeng. Take a look to see if there are any spiritual herbs you need to purchase. Lu Muyen took one and scanned it with her mental energy. The items on the market in the jade slip were divided into 3 categories. The first category was the pill area. This pill shop had more than 10 types of pills for sale, basically all grade 1 and 2 pills. In a deeper column, there was a type of grade 3 pill for sale, but it was limited and only sold to distinguished guests. The second category was the spiritual herbs area. There were more than 100 types of spiritual herbs, and among them, there were more than a dozen species of companion spiritual herbs that could only grow on the Tamer Spirit Mountain near the Yi clan, and 5 types of spiritual herbs that were main ingredients to refine grade 3 pills, also only open to distinguished guests. The third category was a medicinal resource and auxiliary products area. There were some medicinal resources that were either required by mortal humans when they were ill, or were used to refine certain grade 1 pills that promoted blood circulation. There were also those that treated internal and external injuries, as well as some medical items to support refining pills and treating illnesses. Lu Muyen stayed in the spiritual herbs category for the longest time, and memorized the spiritual herbs she wanted. Then she scanned the medicinal materials and auxiliary category, and when she saw the Jiangchuan Lin fish bead, she paused. She looked up at the shopkeeper and asked, "You have Jiangchuan Lin fish beads for sale? These beads can be used to refine pills?" The shopkeeper saw that her temperament was extraordinary, had Sword King strength at such a young age, and was also a friend of young Lord Yi, so he replied respectfully with a smile. The Jiangchuan Lin fish bead contains a trace of water elemental energy, which can neutralize some pills' medicinal properties, making them milder and non-irritating to use, but it doesn't have much other use. Lu Muyen nodded and said calmly, "However many you have, I want them all." Surprise flashed past the shopkeeper's eyes. Although this Jiangchuan Lin fish bead can neutralize medicinal properties, but one didn't need to use much. Why did this young miss want so much? But he didn't dare ask more. After thinking about it, he reported a number. "There are about 200 left." I want it all." Lu Muyen put down the jade slip, then told him all the spiritual herbs she wanted. "However many of these spiritual herbs you have, I want that many." The smile on the shopkeeper's face couldn't be restrained. This young miss was really a big customer. Translated product by May R. Come true. 1a play on the idiom when one is beneath the eaves of another, one must bow their head. Basically means that when a person isn't comparable to another in terms of status, strength, opportunity, etc., they must know to yield and be flexible. 2 companion spiritual herbs are mentioned a lot in Xianxia novels. I'm pretty sure. I just don't know if it's translated the same. Basically spiritual herbs that grow alongside specific species of demonic beasts and such. The shopkeeper was smiling broadly. This was a big customer. They needed to serve her well. "Muyen, why do you want so many spiritual herbs?" Yi Qinghan was very surprised when he saw that she had asked for more than half of the 100 herbs hall's spiritual herbs. Even if this was to refine pills, she didn't need that much, right? Lu Muyen smiled. "Buying it just in case I need it unexpectedly." She wanted to form a private army in the Lu clan, so she naturally had to refine pills that could progress cultivation bases, so that the 100 people could improve their strength. Although the spiritual herbs in this 100 herb hall weren't very high level, but many could be used, especially the more than a dozen types of demonic beast companion herbs, which could be used to refine several useful grade 2 pills. "Muyen, can you give me 1/3 of the dozen or so companion herbs?" Shifeng came to Luoxi City to buy some companion herbs to begin with, and wasn't contending with Lu Muyen on purpose. He really just needed them. Sure. Lu Muyen smiled generously. Since she decided to befriend Shifeng and Mu Yi, then she naturally wouldn't care about such an amount of spiritual herbs. There wasn't much expression on Shifeng's face that appeared to have face paralysis, but there was a smile in his eyes. I can pay for your spiritual herbs today. Young Lord Shi really is generous. I'll trouble you again if I have a chance in the future. This time, I have just enough money with me. Lu Muyen declined gracefully. Shifeng didn't force it either and nodded. All right. When the shopkeeper put the things Lu Muyen asked for in an interspatial bag and handed it to her to count, Bingji took the opportunity to inhale, and more than 30 or 40 water essences of the Jiangchuanlin fish was sucked into his belly. Lu Muyen took a breath, resisting the urge to slap this fellow dead. It wasn't like she wasn't going to give it to him to eat. Did he need to be so impatient? People who didn't know might even think she abused her spirit pet Mu Yi, and the others were still wondering why Lu Muyen had to buy so many Jiangchuanlin fish beads. But now that they saw the 7-colored parrot so impatiently devour them, they completely believed what she said before. If they also had a tier 6 spirit pet, let alone 200 beads, they'd be willing to buy even tens of thousands. After leaving the 100 herb hall, the several people went to the largest smith shop in Luoxi City. After reading the list of sale items, Lu Muyen quickly swept up the items she wanted as usual, making the people next to her feel that she was just too prodigal. But when they remembered how she luxuriously and crazily swallowed pills in the glacial mountain range, they felt that this was really nothing. This woman was just a prodigal lady. Wherever she went, she'd be prodigal there. In the future, whoever married her, could he even afford it? Then Yi Qinghan took them to several other shops, and Lu Muyen kept sweeping up their items continuously, making it so that the few people who had already calmed themselves couldn't resist, but sigh again about her prodigal level. They really didn't know why she wanted to take back so many spiritual herbs and smithing spars. The question was, could she use it up herself? After practically sweeping out all the spiritual herbs and smithing spar shops, the several people went to the Stream Reflection restaurant Yi Qinglu spoke of to have a meal. The speed of Lu Muyen's chopsticks was very fast, and she also ate quickly, but she didn't have the appearance of being crude and rash. On the contrary, she appeared rather elegant. After being used to seeing women who chewed carefully and swallowed slowly to appear gentle, and now seeing her so straightforward, she actually felt very pleasing to the eye. Elder sister Muyen, this is the most famous fresh fruit wine in the Stream Reflection restaurant. It's made from 3 kinds of spiritual fruits, hard to obtain even with thousands of gold one. Have a taste. Yi Qinglu picked up a transparent glass bottle on the table and poured a glass of wine for Lu Muyen. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Lu Muyen picked up the wine glass and saw that the red liquid inside was clear and transparent with a hint of spiritual force. She took a sip, refreshing and cool, and there was even a sweet aftertaste in her mouth. Indeed rather good. She used to brew spiritual wine when she was bored in the immortal cultivation world as well. Now this wine hooked out the cravings in her body. After collecting several ingredients to brew spiritual wine, she would also brew some and drink it often. Yi Qinglu poured wine for her with a smile and a little regret on her face. I love to drink this kind of spiritual wine the most, but unfortunately Stream Reflection restaurant limits the purchase and only sells 1 bottle a month. This bottle is one that I had to make a reservation for last month. The 3 spiritual fruits in this kind of spiritual wine are relatively rare, so it's very troublesome to brew. It's normal for them to restrict sales. Shifeng took a sip and said slowly. Lu Muyen saw how willing Yi Qinglu was pouring the wine for her, but when it came to herself, she reluctantly took small sips after small sips, and said with a smile, "If you like spiritual wine, wait until I find some ingredients to brew it. After I finish brewing, I'll get someone to send it to you, and I promise that it'll be even sweeter and more delicious than this fresh spirit wine." Muyen, you also know how to brew spiritual wine? Yi Qinghan was dumbfounded. Spiritual wine on Tianling continent was even rarer than pills. An alchemist who could brew spiritual wine not only needed to be able to refine wine pills, but also needed to have talent in winemaking. More importantly, there was no recipe for brewing spiritual wine in the outside world. Even on the auctions of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, only one might appear every few decades. Seeing Yi Qinghan's dumbfounded expression, Lu Muyan asked in confusion with a smile. That's right. Is it weird to be able to brew spiritual wine? Which one of those old monsters back then in the immortal cultivation world couldn't brew spiritual wine? For many immortal cultivators, it wasn't that they didn't care about having good food, but it was because the things from the mortal world could no longer satisfy their appetites. Hearing her utter such things so calmly like the breeze and clouds, the several people here couldn't help but hold their foreheads. What did she mean by was it weird to be able to brew spiritual wine? It was already shocking, all right. Stream reflection restaurants spread all over the big cities on the entire Tianling continent. Because of their different types of spiritual wines, they're sold in limited quantities and can't meet the demands, making many old fellows craving it so badly, they'd often come to exchange their good things for it. Yet they may not even able to exchange a bottle. Yi Qinghan saw Lu Muyan's eyes revealing befuddlement, so used the Stream Reflection restaurant as an example to illustrate the rareness and preciousness of spiritual wine. It was only then that Lu Muyan realized why they would look at her with such "you are not normal" eyes. I didn't know the value of spiritual wine. When my master left, he casually tossed 2 wine recipes to me. That's why I thought a lot of people could brew spiritual wine. Lu Muyan's brain turned and blamed everything onto the head of that fabricated master. Only then did everyone reveal an understanding, and they even secretly found some excuses for her in their minds. Lu Muyan was too young, and in Yanzhou Kingdom, that sort of medium-sized small kingdom, people weren't well informed. With a master that's so generous, it was excusable to not know this. Elder sister Muyan, you're so amazing. When you've brewed the spiritual wine, remember to send it to me. Yi Qinglu smiled cheerfully, with innocence and loveliness. A smile overflowed from the corners of Yi Qinghan's lips. Don't forget me as well then. Muyan, I'll order a few bottles now. Haha. They all have it, then Muyan, you can't forget us. Muyi's handsome face displayed a somewhat sincere smile, and took Lu Muyan into his sphere of friends. Shifeng nodded as well. You also can't forget mine. Spiritual wine couldn't only satisfy one's desire for good food, but most importantly, it could also improve one's cultivation base, which was beneficial in removing impurities from the body after cultivating. That's why the sword masters of Tianling continent were very keen, but only very few people could afford it. No problem. Lu Muyan said with a chuckle when she saw them reveal such rare expressions. After they finished their meal, Yi Qinglu hugged Lu Muyan's arm and asked, Elder sister Muyan, do you want to go to the spirit pet shop for a look? This is something unique to Luoxi City, and many sword masters would come here after hearing its reputation. Chapter 146. Taming contract skill. The spirit pet shop Yi Qinglu spoke of made Lu Muyan slightly curious. The spirit pet shop specializes in selling contract demonic beasts? Lu Muyan asked with a certain tone. Yi Qinglu nodded. There's a grade 4 spirit beast master to oversee the spirit pet shop, and there are demonic beasts that have already been tamed for sale. Or you can also catch a demonic beast yourself and pay a certain fee to ask the spirit beast masters in the store to help tame and contract. This spirit pet shop must be the Yi clan's property, right? Lu Muyan smiled softly with brilliant lights and vibrant colors in her eyes. Yi Qinglu opened her eyes wide and asked with surprise. Elder sister Muyan, how did you know that the spirit pet shop is Yi clan's property? Even Shifeng, Muyi and the others turned their head to look at her. If they hadn't already known what the Yi clan's publicized properties were, even they wouldn't have guessed that the spirit pet shop belonged to the Yi clan. Lu Muyan blinked and said with a smile. Qinghan told me. Me. Yi Qinghan was dazed. When? He didn't remember telling Lu Muyan that the spirit pet shop in Luoxi City was the Yi clan's property. Didn't you tell me before that the spirit beast masters above grade 3 in Luoxi City all belong to the Yi clan? Just now Qing Lu said that a grade 4 spirit beast master oversaw the spirit pet shop. Then doesn't it indirectly prove that it's your Yi clan's property? Lu Muyan's gorgeous face swayed with a spirited and clever smile, making the surrounding men stare blankly in a daze. Yi Qinghan looked at her in amusement, and there was a pampering in his eyes that even he didn't know. You little clever girl. Mu Yi and Yunlan also lowered their heads, smiling. Lu Muyan was indeed very intelligent. Being able to think of these from casual conversations, one could see that she indeed had a clear heart and refined nature. The few chattered and laughed along the way, and when they walked past 2 streets, they saw a spacious shop where many people entered and exited with demonic beasts beside them. Entering the shop, a sharp-eyed attendant ran to call the shopkeeper as soon as he saw the few people enter. The shopkeeper then greeted them with a smile on his face upon hearing the news. Young Lord, young Mississippi. The shopkeeper respectfully greeted with formalities, then turned and smiled at Lu Muyan and the others, greeting. Young sirs, young misses, please come inside. How's business today? Yi Qinghan asked casually. The shopkeeper replied. Today business is a bit lighter, about 1/10 less than usual. Yi Qinghan randomly scanned the shop, then ordered. Take us to the 3rd floor for a look. The 1st and 2nd floors were filled with low-level demonic beasts, nothing to look at, while the 3rd floor was the treasure area. Hiss hiss. Lu Muyan was about to step upstairs when she discovered that Meow Meow, who had been wrapped around her wrist, suddenly slithered out, hissing excitedly at a corner of the 1st floor, conveying a kind of desire to her. You all go up first, I'll take a look before going. Lu Muyan had no choice but to stop in her steps and say to the few people who had already started to go upstairs. Yi Qinghan and the others didn't know what she was going to do, but they all stopped in their steps. No worries, we'll accompany you. Lu Muyan also knew that they wouldn't go up first, nodded, then walked in the direction where Meow Meow flicked its tongue at. When she approached, she saw dozens of gray mice in a cage in the corner. Judging from their aura, she could tell that they were Tier 2 demonic beasts. She had seen them on the continent's demonic beast record. Desolate land rat, mostly Tier 1 to 3 with no special talents of their race. Their meat was fresh and tender, and the tender meat of their entire body contained some energy like elemental energy. They were mostly used for food, and frequent eating could progress cultivation bases. Of course, only sword masters under sword spirit could progress their cultivation base with eating desolate land rats, so its general price wasn't that expensive. Meow Meow wants to eat. Lu Muyan gently rubbed the head of the little white snake with her finger. Hiss hiss. Meow Meow rubbed Lu Muyan's hand affectionately with her head, expressing a desire in her heart. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Lu Muyan would naturally meet its desires. Shopkeeper, are these desolate land rats for sale? Replying to young miss, they are for sale. The shopkeeper replied with a smile. Originally, these desolate land rats were ordered by a sword master, but some time ago, he was killed by someone when he went out, so the order was also cancelled. Now that this friend of young lord's wanted it, of course he had to cater and sell. Then he'll take it all and pay the bill together after we browse the place. Lu Muyan's prodigal behavior couldn't be stopped at all. The shopkeeper looked at Yi Qinghan with questioning eyes. This? Store it all in a spirit beast bangle and charge the cost to my account. This was Yi clan's property. Yi Qinghan definitely wouldn't collect Lu Muyan's money. Qinghan, I'd be embarrassed if you're this generous. Lu Muyan smiled brightly, eyebrows curved. Yi Qinghan couldn't resist stretching out his hand and flick her forehead gently, saying with a smile, I still don't know how to repay you for treating Elder Lu and Qing Lu. This little matter, it's not worth mentioning. Then he also found that his actions were too intimate, and he immediately put his hand down and coughed dryly. Let's go upstairs. Mu Yi and Shifeng both noticed Yi Qinghan's movements and expressions, and they both grew thoughtful. Yi Qinglu secretly smiled. She had always known that elder brother had a favorable impression of Lu Muyan, but now it had probably upgraded to like. She was also happy to have Lu Muyan as her own sister-in-law in the future. Lu Muyan also didn't expect that Yi Qinghan, who was usually serious and a little cold, would act in such a way. Seeing that he quickly withdrew his hand and changed the subject, she also didn't lay it bare and cooperated in going upstairs. On the third floor, they could no longer see cages of demonic beasts, only more than a dozen spirit beast bangles on the counter. Each spirit beast bangle was protected by an elemental energy cover, and if one didn't have the special activation method, it couldn't be taken out. There was a jade slip outside each elemental energy light shield, which was used to introduce the situation of the demonic beasts in the spirit beast bangle. There was a middle-aged man sitting in the middle of the lobby on the third floor as well. Although his appearance was ordinary, but he had a gentle temperament, and one that made others unable to resist getting close to. Currently, he was helping contract a demonic beast that was captured by a sword master. Lu Muyen found a place to sit down and watch with great interest. Behind the man was a complex array. The moment the Tier 4 mystic pattern leopard was thrown into the array, it was bound by a few yellow light beams. The middle-aged man muttered a spell as his fingers kept drawing a talisman in the air in front of the mystic pattern leopard with elemental energy. Then gradually, an elemental energy array with a void spiritual seal formed. Drip a drop of your blood essence on its forehead. The man turned his head and said to the client. His voice was temperate and warm like a spring breeze. The man immediately cut his fingertip and dripped a drop of blood on the head of the mystic pattern leopard. The middle-aged man hurriedly inserted that taming spiritual seal into the mystic patterned leopard's body, and used his mental energy to control it to envelop the yaofu of the mystic patterned leopard, and form a contract. Contract. He said a word gently and a soft white light instantly enveloped the client and the mystic patterned leopard. After the white light passed, the mystic patterned leopard that was originally struggling and glaring fiercely now sat obediently by the client's side. There was a sliver of connection between the one human one beast that Lu Muyen could feel. The middle-aged man walked to the basin of water on the table by the window and washed his hands before walking to the several people with a gentle smile. Young lord, young miss. Great master one. Yi Qinghan and Yi Qingla greeted him very politely. Lu Muyan's lips curled into a ruminating arc. This was the first time she had seen this type of skill of taming and contracting demonic beasts. It was indeed really interesting. Great Master One, who was temperate and full of warm colors, was definitely not an ordinary person either. Come true. Chapter 147. This woman just wasn't a normal person after greeting each other. Great Master One smiled kindly at Lu Muyen and the others, then walked back to the center to help the next client contract their spirit pet. In the same way, Lu Muyen discovered that every time Great Master One threw the demonic beast into the soul-locking array, the demonic beast would be bound by yellow light beams emitted from the array. The demonic soul energy weakened, and it would be easier to form a contract with. After the three queued clients finished their contracts and left, Great Master One said to Yi Qinghan leisurely, Young Lord is here for what purpose today? I've brought a few friends over to take a look. Great Master One, has the clan sent any Tier 5 demonic beasts for contracting and sale? Yi Qinghan asked with a faint smile. This Great Master One was a guest elder of the Yi clan who volunteered to oversee the spirit pet shop. Hearing this, Great Master One pointed to the very top of the counter and said, There are 3 Tier 5 demonic beasts for sale. Young Lord can take a look. Yi Qinghan nodded, walked over and picked up 3 jade slips for a look, then asked Lu Muyen and the others, Do you all want to take a look? Lu Muyen already contracted 3 spirit pets, and each one was of extraordinary origin. She had no interest in a spirit pet at Sword King strength. I don't need to. Mui once contracted a mutated peak phase Tier 5 snow monkey beast, so he shook his head and said, I don't need to as well. Shifeng and Wuxia was interested and took a jade slip to take a look. Even Yinlan couldn't help picking one up to look at. On Tianling continent, a sword master who wasn't a spirit beast master could only contract 2 spirit pets with the help of a spirit beast master. Even those above sword venerable were no exception. 4 spirit beast masters, depending on one's mental energy and contract level. A grade 10 spirit beast master could contract 10 spirit pets at most, which was also the limit. Lu Muyan's ancient contract skill was different, however. As long as one's mental energy could support it, there was no upper limit in contracting. Qing Han, how do you sell this Tier 5 contract demonic beast? Yin Lan put down a jade slip and asked with some desire. He came to Luoxi City this time, bringing enough purple gold coins, just to buy a contract demonic beast. He originally thought it would be good enough to buy a Tier 4 demonic beast and return to raise it slowly, but he didn't expect to encounter Tier 5 demonic beasts for sale. Yi Qinghan didn't manage his clan's affairs, so he turned his head and asked Great Master Wen. Great Master Wen, what's the price of these 3 Tier 5 demonic beasts? They are all my best friends. How about giving a clan discount? Although he's the young lord, but he didn't have the right to arbitrarily take from the clan's property without paying the bills. To be more precise, everyone, including the patriarch and the elders, didn't have the privilege. These 3 demonic beasts are the most significant products of our store, and they're only sold to specific distinguished guests. However, since the young lord's best friends want it, then I could accommodate somewhat. The original price is 6 million purple gold coins for one. My authority can only drop it by 1 million, so if the 2 sirs and young miss wants to buy it, then they require 5 million purple gold coins. Great Master Wen's words weren't hurried nor slow, making it feel as if one was bathing in a warm breeze, exceptionally comfortable. Only when Lu Muyen heard the tongue-tying price, did she lift her head and scan the 3 white light covers. This was a little too fraudulent, it was actually expensive. No wonder the 3 professions that make the most money on Tianling continent were alchemists, smiths, and spirit beast masters. Of course, the most expensive jobs were the first 2 professions. After all, in order to advance, it took countless spiritual herbs and spars to start refining from a low grade. While the most dangerous profession was spirit beast master. It was risky to catch demonic beasts, and while contracting, if a demonic beast's soul energy was too strong, they could also receive backlash. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. She stroked her chin and her eyes shone brightly. If she had no money in the future, she'd just go to the blazing and glacial mountain ranges where high-level demonic beasts roam to catch a few to contract then sell. After Yin Lan heard the price, he unconsciously furrowed his brows slightly. He knew that 5 million purple gold coins was indeed a discount, but it still surpassed his estimated amount by a lot. After all, he brought purple gold coins originally to buy Tier 4 demonic beasts. He just so happened to have exactly 5 million purple gold coins on him, which was given to him before he left, specifically prepared by the imperial family for him to use to improve his strength before the continental tournament for hegemony. That's why he hesitated between buying or not buying. Wuxia only had around 2 million purple gold coins. Although she was from the main bloodline of the clan, but she wasn't the most valued genius, so she could only regretfully put the jade slip in her hand down. Shifeng was the young lord of the Shi clan, and also an alchemist. He wasn't short of money at all, and the demonic beast introduced on the jade slip just so happened to have the same elemental energy attribute as him, so he didn't hesitate to take out a crystal card to transfer the money. Seeing Yin Lan hesitate, Lu Muyen said, "Elder cousin brother, 5 million purple gold coins is too expensive, don't buy it." Little girl, 5 million purple gold coins is already considered the best price even on the entire continent. If it were at an auction, a Tier 5 demonic beast that could be contracted might require at least 7 or 8 million purple gold coins to buy. Great Master Wen said as he looked at Lu Muyen with a gentle smile. What I mean by expensive isn't that the price you're selling it at is expensive, but that it's not a good deal. Lu Muyen explained. Not a good deal? A Tier 5 demonic beast is equivalent to the strength of a sword king. Most importantly, it's a life-saving trump card. Moreover, in the eastern region, a spirit beast master Tier 4 and above is simply too rare. Sometimes even if you had purple gold coins, you may not be able to buy a Tier 5 demonic pet. Mu-Yi smiled and looked at her, teasing. Muyen, aren't you a prodigal? Even you have times where you think something's not a good deal. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes and said without a good temper. Do I look like I'm a foolish spender? It's not a good deal to begin with. I can go contract one myself, why waste that money? You can contract one yourself? Don't say you can contract a Tier 5 demonic beast. Mu-Yi's eyes widened, an expression filled with disbelief. Lu Muyen poked the 7-colored parrot on her shoulder and said, "Although this Tier 6 demonic beast was caught and suppressed by someone else for me, but I contracted it myself." "What? You can contract a Tier 6 demonic beast?" Everyone present was surprised. Really? Their little heart really couldn't take it. Lu Muyan's recent expenses were simply too huge, and she was simply too lacking in the money required to raise a powerful private army for the Lu clan. She had a plan in her heart, so she decided to reveal a trump card herself. "I can contract a Tier 6 demonic beast, but I also need it to willingly contract me," Lu Muyan said lightly. The several people breathed a sigh of relief. So that's how it was. In fact, as long as the demonic beast was willing, even a Grade 2 Spirit Beast Master could contract a Tier 5 demonic beast. But which demonic beast would be that stupid to willingly subdue to a human much weaker than themselves? Lu Muyan's Tier 6 demonic beast willingly contracted her, probably because it was forcefully suppressed by her mysterious master. But then her next sentence completely broke their illusion. "But as long as their strength is inferior to me, I can contract any, so I can also contract a Tier 5 demonic beast." Lu Muyen appeared a little tsundere. "If elder cousin brother wants to contract a Tier 5 spirit pet, then don't bother buying it, just leave it to me. By the way, Qinghan, does your store also accept Tier 5 demonic beasts already imprinted with a contract seal?" Lu Muyen blinked her eyes and said, a little embarrassed, "I'm short of money recently. If I can, then I'll go catch a few Tier 5 demonic beasts these few days and sell it to your Yi Clan spirit pet shop." The people present couldn't help but twitch their lips and looked up at the sky speechlessly with all kinds of jealousy, envy and hatred in their eyes. Lu Muyen gave a deep blow to their initially rather strong hearts. This woman just wasn't a normal person. This kind of talent was comparable to a monster. Comparing one to another definitely could infuriate oneself to death. Come true. Chapter 148. Want to make extra money? Lu Muyan's words dealt a heavy blow to the favored children of heaven, but they didn't have any jealousy. "Muyan, then does that mean you're also a spirit beast master?" Yi Qinghan smiled, but there was some complexity floating at the bottom of his eyes. His final advantage in front of Lu Muyan also changed, but had tried to keep up with her steps. Lu Muyan nodded with a smile. "I guess I am." It was just that her contract skill was different from those of this continent. "Elder sister Muyan, you're really so amazing." Yi Qinglu couldn't help but give Lu Muyan a thumbs up, and the worship in her eyes grew even stronger. "The skill of taming beasts was also taught to me by my master." Either way, whenever something was out of the ordinary, Lu Muyan now pushed it all onto that fabricated master. Wen Liang looked at Lu Muyan thoughtfully, then said with a hint of curiosity, "Who might your master be, little girl?" Master had never told me his name, but he called himself Old Man Tian Xianwan. Lu Muyan replied with a calm smile. This name wasn't actually made up randomly. When she entered the sect in her previous life, her respected master was indeed Old Man Tian Xian. But she didn't know if there was such a character on Tianling continent, though there shouldn't be such a coincidence. When Liang's pupils constricted slightly when he heard Old Man Tian Xian, but quickly restrained himself, and others didn't catch his expression. "Great Master One, do you accept contract demonic beasts here?" Lu Muyen saw Wen Liang not talking, so she guessed that he had never heard the name she spoke of, and she didn't want to continue the topic of her master either. Wen Liang was dazed for a moment, then immediately returned to his senses and smiled like a breeze, saying, "Of course we accept. If young miss can catch a Tier 5 demonic beast and imprint a contract seal, then we will buy it for 5,800,000 purple gold coins from you." The Tier 5 contract demonic beasts sold in the Yi Clan Spirit Pet Shop weren't open to just any sword master. Only those with certain backgrounds or conditions were eligible to buy them. The selling price was at 6 million purple gold coins, and the supply didn't meet the demands. If Lu Muyen could imprint a contract seal then sell it to the store, then they could still earn 200,000 purple gold coins without much effort, which was also pretty good. After all, the most difficult thing with Tier 5 demonic beasts was imprinting a contract seal. Once the contract seal was successfully imprinted into the demonic beast Xiaofu, as long as a swordmaster dropped some blood essence between its brows, do a simple contract skill to complete the process themselves, then it'd be done. Then that's settled. Lu Muyen felt that the other party's conditions were quite good. If she went to sell it in other places, then they'd definitely cheat her of millions of purple gold coins. She wouldn't have the time and energy to take them to the auction either. This was good. Watching Lu Muyen talk about cooperating in transactions so lightly with Great Master One, those beside were completely defeated by her. She didn't look like she was joking at all with such behavior. If she didn't have the confidence, then she'd never take such a job. Younger cousin sister, then I need that contract demonic beast? Yun Lan asked Lu Muyen's opinion, holding the jade slip in his hand. Lu Muyen took the jade slip from his hand and swept it with her mental energy, then said with a little disgust, "Don't need it. What are you going to do with this type of initial phase tier 5 demonic beast? Even if you want a contract, then want one at advanced phase tier 5 or peak phase strength." Lu Muyen, could you stop dealing blows to people? When Liang's eyes were deep, and a smile appeared on his lips. Little girl, if you can catch tier 5 demonic beasts at middle phase, advanced phase or peak phase, imprint a contract seal, then bring it here, the price will be even higher. How much higher? Lu Muyen's face revealed a bit of interest. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, for every phase higher, 1 million will be added. If the demonic beast is at peak phase tier 5, then it's directly 9 million purple gold coins. The expression on Wen Liang's face didn't change much. Lu Muyen thought for a bit, then said, "Good." Then she asked Great Master One and Yi Qinghan, "Are there any high-level demonic beasts nearby?" It would take about a month for Yi Qing's poison to be cured. Based on her previous cultivation base, she would have needed to apply needles once every day, but after advancing leaps and bounds, and also having the green sea of fog in her dantian, she only needed to apply needles once every 3 to 5 days. The rest of her time could be used to catch demonic beasts and sell them to earn some extra money. There's none nearby, but there's high-level demonic beasts in the Sunset Cloud Mountain Range 3 days away from Luoxi City on a tailwind horse. When Liang said, "Sunset Cloud Mountain Range? Is it very close to Fenghill City?" She had seen the introduction of Sunset Cloud Mountain Range on the map of Tianling Continent. There were 3 places in that mountain range that were also listed as danger areas, but as long as they didn't cross over it, then there wouldn't be any danger. Sunset Cloud Mountain Range is the only path between Luoxi City and Fenghill City. Except for the 3 major dangerous border areas, most of the training for the pupils of the 10 distinguished clans are in the Sunset Cloud Mountain Range. There's also a road connecting the 2 cities. Yi Qinghan answered. Lu Muyen's eyes lit up. Fenghill City was the city where her maternal grandfather's Ling clan was located. She was originally planning to treat Yi Qinglu, then go take a look at her elder cousin brother Ling Fei Yang's illness, but time might be a bit tight. But now it seemed that she could drop by the Ling clan to bring elder cousin brother to the Yi clan and receive treatment together with Yi Qinglu. By then, she'd save time and effort, and on the way, she could investigate any news about the Sunset Cloud Mountain Range. Those tier 5 demonic beasts should all roam around the 3 major danger areas, right? Lu Muyen asked after pondering. With the fact that the young pupils of the 10 distinguished clans dared to complete their training in Sunset Cloud Mountain Range, aside from the 3 major danger areas, there probably wouldn't be any tier 5 demonic beasts roaming elsewhere. Indeed, but you can encounter tier 5 demonic beasts on the borders of the 3 major danger areas. If you want to go, never ever go deep. When Liang paused, then continued. I've heard that the innermost part of the 3 major danger areas even has a tier 9 beast king and numerous high-level demonic beasts everywhere. Without the strength of a sword sovereign or higher, you can't go deep. I'm only going to catch some tier 5 demonic beasts, I won't go deep. By the way, does Great Master One know where there's a map of Sunset Cloud Mountain Range for sale? Lu Muyen asked. When Liang replied. The map of Sunset Cloud Mountain Range is sold in many places, but there are none of the 3 major danger areas. If you want to go, you'll have to explore it yourself. Alright. I've troubled Great Master One today. Lu Muyan wasn't disappointed either. It was better to have a map, but it didn't matter if she didn't. She was more eager to explore the unknown. With a gentle smile between Wen Liang's brows, he waved his hand. You're welcome. Then this one will be here to await good news from you, little girl. Don't worry, I'll definitely do this business. Because the news that Lu Muyan was a spirit beast master was too shocking, the others also lost interest to continue to browse, so they went back to the Yi clan after casually strolling around Luoxi City. After resting for the night, Lu Muyan prepared to start treating Yi Qinglu the next day. Hearing the news, Shifeng and the others immediately went to Yi Qinglu's courtyard and waited to watch her treatment. Even Yi Chun and Yi Zhan arrived one after the other. Yi Qinglu was the family's most treasured daughter. She had excellent talents and had a natural affinity for demonic beasts. As long as she was cured of the poison and her cultivation base kept up, it was very possible to raise her to become a Tier 5 Spirit Beast Master, or even higher. Therefore, she was very much valued by the clan. This time, with Lu Muyan curing Yi Qinglu, the Yi clan opened their warehouse to provide all the resources for her to use. Translated product by Mayar Come True. One random fact, Tianxian is actually Ursa Majoris in the Big Dipper asterism, which is in the constellation Ursa Major, aka the Great Bear. Doesn't really matter for the story, I'm pretty sure, and probably just gives the master a mysterious feel. Chapter 149. Remove poison. Lu Muyan had already refined the pill needed to help treat Yi Qinglu's poison on the first night when she was preparing the treatment. In the room, Yi Zhan and the others sat quietly in the distance watching her treatment. It wasn't that they didn't believe her, but they were curious like Shifeng. Lu Muyan first fed Yi Qinglu a special grade 2 antidote pill. Then the two sat cross-legged on a white marble warm jade bed. After Yi Qinglu took the antidote pill, she ran 2 full cosmic orbits around her body, fully exerting the effects of the medicine. Lu Muyan had constantly been observing Yi Qinglu's absorption and refining situation with her mental energy. When the medicinal power of the pill began to work, she formed several Taoist seals in front of her. She slowly placed her hands on Yi Qinglu's back, and slivers of spiritual energy flowed from her palm and entered into the other party's body. The green sea of fog in her dantian circulated round and round, and together with Lu Muyan's spiritual energy, transported into all the meridians in Yi Qinglu's body. Because the fetal poison was overbearing and extremely poisonous, Yi Qinglu's blood had been mixed with a lot of poison already, so the bright red blood had also turned dark red at this time, which was extremely abnormal. Lu Muyan wasn't hasty either. She washed the blood in her meridians over and over again with the spiritual energy that carried some green sea of fog, until the dark red faded a little before moving the spiritual energy into her internal organs. Yi Qinglu gritted her teeth tightly, enduring waves of pain. Compared to the more than 10 years of pain and suffering, she could still bear this aching. Lu Muyan's forehead and nose were covered in a layer of dense sweat. Using spiritual energy in such a way to remove poison was very exhausting. About 4 hours later, Lu Muyan had washed all parts of Yi Qinglu's body with spiritual energy 3 times, and the poison had also diminished somewhat with the spiritual energy that carried some green fog. Piu! Yi Qinglu just felt pain in her abdomen, then she spurted out a mouthful of blood. After she spit it out, her entire body felt more relaxed but was also very weak. Lu Muyan retracted the hands placed on her back and made a gesture of completion. Seeing her gesture of completion, Yi Chen immediately stood up and asked nervously, "Lu girl, how is it?" Lu Muyan supported Yi Qinglu and said, "She was poisoned too deeply, and this poison is extremely overbearing. Today I only cleaned up a small part of it for her. The black blood she spewed out just now was poison, so you don't need to worry. Everything is going smoothly." Hearing what she said, everyone in the room was relieved and looked down at the ground. Sure enough, they saw that the pool of black blood was bubbling and was very corrosive. Yi Chen clenched his hands tightly. If he hadn't taken that woman back to be a concubine back then, his most beloved wife wouldn't have died. Her treasured daughter wouldn't have been poisoned in the fetus, and wouldn't have had to endure that kind of inhuman torture since she was a child. Although he eliminated the woman's entire clan, but his pair of children still treated him with only respect and no love, always keeping an unbridgeable distance. He had felt so guilty as he watched his daughter grow up day by day, but the fact that she couldn't survive past 18 years old also made him suffer every day in regret. Now that Lu Muyen finally gave him some hope, no matter what, he had to grab onto it. His daughter was his lifeblood. He'd rather die than her. Lu Muyen didn't know the situation between the Yi clan's father and daughter, but she had always felt that Yi Qinghan and Yi Qinglu had a complicated relationship with their father, always deliberately keeping some distance. At this time, seeing Yi Chen's various complex expressions of contradictory pain and relief, she could only sigh. She calmed her mind and took out the golden needles made by Heavenly Frost's golden crystal. A wisp of flame appeared from her fingertip, and she roasted the tip of the needles with fire, then inserted each one into Yi Qingle's large acupoints respectively. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. There was also her spiritual energy entwined with green fog on the golden needles, which then penetrated into Yi Qingle's body bit by bit and repelled the poison. After another 2 hours, Lu Muyen pulled out the golden needles and said to Yi Qinghan, "Qinghan, you take Qingle back to your room. Let a maid wash her body after a quarter of an hour. After an hour, place her into a bathtub of medicinal liquid that I formulated and heat it up, making sure the water doesn't cool. When the green water turns clear, then lift her out of the bathtub." "All right." Yi Qinghan walked in front of the two of them and carried Yi Qinglu, who had already fainted, then said to Lu Muyen with care, "You also go back to your room and rest for the night." At this time, Lu Muyen's spiritual energy was seriously depleted, and the green sea of fog was also a little smaller. "All right." After greeting the people present, she went back to her room and poured out a few spiritual energy replenishing pills to take and recover. "This girl really is a genius in pharmacology," Elder Wu said in admiration. "Indeed. We wouldn't be able to learn her methods even if we watched. But it did help me realize something." Shifeng got up and walked to the pool of black blood that Yi Qinglu spat out, took out a porcelain bottle, and collected some. "It's good to have realizations. The comprehension abilities of you young people sure are good." This old man could only see the surface of things even after watching for so long. Elder Wu had already passed the best age for comprehension, so he could only shake his head regretfully. The next day, after Yi Qinglu woke up, she felt that the poison that had been suppressing her and causing her incomparable discomfort had indeed been lightened a little, so she ran to tell her family in excitement. After eating breakfast, Lu Muyen recovered to her best condition, and continued to help Yi Qinglu remove the poison like she did yesterday. This sort of treatment to remove poison required the use of spiritual energy to wash the blood and internal organs that had been contaminated by poison over and over again for the first 3 days. On the third day, the black blood that Yi Qinglu vomited was even deeper and thicker. During the treatment, she also didn't faint again, and she was much more spirited than the first time. Lu Muyen breathed a sigh of relief after completion. Although this fetal poison was domineering and had incubated for a rather long time, but the green sea of fog in her could actually restrain the poison, so after cleaning for 3 consecutive days, she would also be more relaxed. 3 days later, clear the poison and apply acupuncture. Qinglu must rest well. Lu Muyen retrieved the golden needles and instructed. After 3 days of rigorous detoxification, Yi Qingle's face also became rosier. Elder sister Muyen must also rest well. The last 3 days must have tired you." She could see that it must be very mentally draining for Lu Muyen to treat her, and it was useless to say any more words of thanks. She would remember this life-saving grace in her heart. "No problem." Lu Muyen smiled relaxedly. After the first 3 days of strong detoxification, the poison in Yi Qingle's body had been removed by half already. As long as she devoured and refined the residual poison using spiritual energy in the remaining 20 or so days, then it'd be fine. Seeing that Yi Qingle's complexion had improved, and was even rosier than the pale complexion before the treatment, Yi Chen and Yi Qinghan were also relieved. They cooperated fully with Lu Muyen's treatment. Elder Wu and Shifeng kept their eyes on Lu Muyen when she removed the poison. They would always be amazed and realize something from it. Shifeng felt that he was very fortunate to have come to the Yi clan this time for the Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal and the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, and in turn, run into Lu Muyen. 3 days later, Lu Muyen cleared up some poison for Yi Qinglu again, then said to Yi Chun after the acupuncture, "Uncle Yi, my elder cousin brother is also suffering from an illness. Originally, I planned on going to the Ling clan to treat him after removing the poison for Qinglu, but the Continental Tournament for Hegemony is arriving very soon. I want to go to the Ling clan and bring him to the Yi clan to treat together. Do you think that's all right?" "That's fine." Yi Chun nodded with a smile. Then he paused and said, "It'll take fastest almost 3 days to get to Fenghill City. Will you be able to come back on time for acupuncture? How about I send someone to pick him up?" Translated product by Mayar Come True Note. Men and concubines. Enough said. Chapter 150. Miserable Bingji. It wasn't that Yi Chun didn't believe Lu Muyen, but it took 5 days at the fastest to travel to and from Fenghill City. It was possible she wouldn't make it back in time to apply acupuncture for Yi Qinglu. That's why he proposed that the Yi clan send someone there to pick Ling Feiyang up. "Don't worry, Uncle Yi. He'll definitely be back in 5 days." Lu Muyen knew what he thought in his heart, so she promised. "And I haven't been to see maternal grandpa for a long time, so I wanted to go see him this time." Yi Chun also discovered through careful observations over the past few days that although Lu Muyen was young, but she was very responsible. "All right, then I'll trouble Lu girl to come back quickly." Lu Muyen checked Yi Qinglu again, and when there was no sign of any problems, she prepared to leave the Yi clan. Yi Qinghan, Mu Yi and the others were also interested in the Tier 5 demonic beasts in Sunset Cloud Mountain Range, so they decided to go with her. That afternoon, the several people met in the main courtyard of the Yi clan. "Muyen, how do we go?" Yi Qinghan took out a spirit beast ring and said, "I have a Tier 4 flying mount here which is faster than riding a tailwind horse." Lu Muyen ripped off the lazy Bingji from her shoulder and threw him to the ground. "No worries, we'll use my spirit pet to fly. At his speed, we can reach Fenghill City in less than a day." Although the cultivation base of Bingji was suppressed by Mingxiu to Tier 6 demonic beast, but his flying ability wasn't affected as much. As long as he let free of his speed to travel, he would probably be dozens of times faster than a Tier 4 demonic beast. Of course, this thing was very lazy, so it'd be pretty good already if he could control his speed to arrive within a day. "Little owner, you're beautiful and brilliant and lovely, so couldn't you be gentler?" Bingji stood on the ground and glared at Lu Muyen, then pursed his lips and continued to say, "If you keep not acting like a woman, be careful that man would." But he had yet to finish speaking when Lu Muyen choked his neck with elemental energy. Her eyes filled with threats. The mouth of this stinky bird really was too cheap that he almost told everyone about Mingxiu. "Hurry up and change back to your original form. You must arrive in Fenghill City in 1 day, otherwise I'll pluck all your feathers out." Lu Muyen said viciously. This stinky bird was just owing a beating. Bingji raised his head in dissatisfaction and still wanted to bargain, but when he saw Lu Muyen suddenly hold the golden ring in her hand to play with, he immediately shriveled. That thing was given to little owner by that damned man, but it just happened to be able to suppress his demonic energy. The most important thing was that it was able to bind his mouth to prevent him from talking. Wouldn't that suffocate him to death? He didn't dare to try to provoke Lu Muyen's prestige anymore. He knew that this woman usually looked easy to talk to, but when she was really angered, she'd definitely pluck out all his feathers. A 7-colored, dazzling bright light lit up. All Yi Qinghan and the others saw was the 7-colored parrot on the ground instantly turn into a tall and mighty, huge cyan blue-colored ice luan with smooth and shiny feathers. This is a descendant of a cyan luan. Mui stared at Bingji with shock in his eyes. The pressure of a superior demonic race from the other party was too dense. Only a divine beast could exude this kind of aura. Meanwhile, after Bingji revealed his original form, an elderly man and an elderly woman, who sat cross-legged in a secret area with dense spiritual force in the Yi clan, opened their eyes at the same time and looked in the same direction in surprise. "This is the aura of a divine beast?" the elderly woman said slowly. The elderly man pinched his fingers and swept his mental energy in that direction, then nodded and said, "It turns out to be a descendant of the Cyan Luan. But it's just a Tier 6 Ice Luan." There were a few fluctuations in the elderly woman's calm eyes. Could it be a junior in the clan who contracted it? Wait as I ask. The elderly man took out a talisman and inserted some elemental energy. Then the talisman flew out with a shoe. The Ice Luan was an extremely rare demonic beast on Tianling continent, and was also a descendant of a divine beast. If a junior from the clan contracted it, then they could spend some energy to raise them. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Not long after, Yichen respectfully stood in front of the two of them and reported what had occurred in the past few days, including the owner of the Ice Luan. "You mean that the Ice Luan is the contracted spirit pet of that little girl who came here to cure Qingla?" the elderly woman asked without much expression, replying to ancestor indeed. The elderly man's eyes revealed a touch of interest. How could she, a little girl at the Sword King level, contract a Tier 6 descendant of a divine beast? There's a mysterious master behind the Lu clan's little girl. It is said that the person helped suppress the Ice Luan for her to forcefully contract. And the marrow cleansing pill that Qing Han had taken before was also given by the little girl. Yichen replied respectfully with a hint of protectiveness in his tone. The elderly man thought for a moment in silence, then said, "After Qingla's poison is cleared, you bring her to see us here in the secret area." Yes. Lu Muyin didn't know that the Yi clan's ancestors had interest in her. Currently, the several people were sitting on top of Bingji, drinking tea. Bingji's back could extend a lot, and the feathers in the middle could even be erected to form a circle around them, sheltering them from wind and rain. So Lu Muyin thought that she might as well get Bingji to erect the feathers into the shape of a room. Then she placed a table on his back and took out some spiritual tea to drink. Bingji flew as he smelt the faint fragrance of tea and cried inwardly. Why did he have to work so hard and bitterly as a mount while those bastards could sit on him, drinking tea and chatting? Thinking of it, he regretted why his mouth and hands had to be cheap back then and teased that beautiful, red-clothed man. If that hadn't occurred, he would have snatched the heavenly frost golden crystal long ago and continued to live freely and easily in the glacial mountain range. The only thing that comforted him was that Lu Muyin was a generous owner, and she was never reluctant nor pained when supplying he and the two other spirit pets with spars, spiritual herbs, and pills. Although those things weren't very effective for him as a Tier 8 demonic beast, but he believed that one day, Lu Muyin, this little woman who was filled with mystery, could refine a high-level pill for him to have his fill. This was also one reason that he usually didn't go against Lu Muyin's orders. Using the words of that woman, this was a type of bet, and he put all his chips on her. Bingji controlled his speed and flew slowly, fearing that it would scare the others if he were too fast, and arrived at Feng Hill City the next morning. Outside Feng Hill City, Lu Muyin told Bingji to return to his form as a 7-colored parrot. When entering the city, one also needed to pay a certain amount of entrance fees. After paying the fee, the several people headed straight to the city lord's mansion. Feng Hill City was also constructed to be very large, and its prosperity was not inferior to that of Luoshi City. Most sword masters walking on the streets carried long swords on their backs, and the entire city gave a sense of remoteness and solemnity. But this wasn't surprising. It was just like Luoshi City of the Yi clan, where spirit beast masters walking with demonic beasts could be seen everywhere. The Ling clan was well known for their sword skills, especially their ability to fly on swords at the Great Sword Master stage, showing the special characteristics of their sword skills. Most other sword masters could only barely use the plentiful elemental energy in their bodies at sword spirit stage to fly on the sword. In Lu Muyin's memory, she knew the route to the city lord's mansion. When the several people arrived at the city lord's mansion, they saw 2 guards standing at the door. "This is the city lord's mansion, please stop." One person stepped forward and said to the several people, without any expression, "Ever since Lu Muyin started chasing after Qi Yixian, She seldom followed her mother to Feng Hill City. It had been 5 years since the last time she came, so it was normal for the guards to not recognize her. She was just about to explain when suddenly, a joyful voice sounded from the side. Young Miss Cousin 1. Are you young Miss Cousin? Translated product by May R. Come True. Chapter 151. Seemingly far in the horizon, but actually right in front of you. Young Miss Cousin. You're young Miss Cousin, right? The voice of joy and excitement sounded, and Lu Muyen saw a sturdy old man walking towards them when she looked to the direction of the voice. Uncle Jean. She recognized this man as the chief steward of the Ling mansion, and also an old man who had followed her maternal grandfather for many years. It's really young Miss Cousin. 5 years have passed, you've really grown into a big miss. Ling Zhen walked to Lu Muyen and said with a smile. Compared to 5 years ago, the young Miss Cousin now had undergone earth-shaking changes. Not only did she have beauty that could cause the downfall of a country, but the change in temperament almost made him unable to recognize her. With an otherworldly and refined temperament, along with a sense of uninhibitedness and boldness, he had never seen a second young girl like this in the younger generation. Uncle Jean, is my maternal grandpa here? Lu Muyen asked with a smile. He's here. Who knows how many times Patriarch has thought of you before. If you want to come to the Ling clan, you should have sent a message and Patriarch could send someone to pick you up. Lu Muyen smiled lightly and said, Isn't it so that I could surprise my respected grandpa? Haha, that's right. Patriarch will definitely be very happy to see you. Ling Zhen laughed happily, then seeing the few people standing beside Lu Muyen, he was stunned. He had only paid attention to young Miss Cousin just now and didn't expect that these 3 young lords also came. Young lords and third prince are truly rare guests. Please quickly come in. Ling Zhen curbed his affection for Lu Muyen and was very polite to the 4 of them. Well, trouble elderly steward, Yi Qinghan said. After Ling Zhen led the group into the city lord's mansion, they went straight into the hall, and he ordered a guard next to him to invite Patriarch. Not long after the few people sat down in the hall, an old man who walked swiftly as if flying, with a ruddy complexion, and who looked about 50 years old walked in. Behind him followed 2 middle-aged men, and Ling Fei Hao. I heard that my family's mischievous little girl is here. Before the person themselves even entered the door, his sonorous voice entered first. Lu Muyen stood up and greeted him with a lively smile. Maternal grandpa really is a treasured sword that doesn't age, truly still elegant as usual. Even more energetic than paternal grandfather. Haha, stinky girl. I haven't seen you for a few years and this mouth sure knows what to say now. Ling Hongzhua gazed at Lu Muyen softly and praised. My family's stinky girl is naturally beautiful. Just how old are you and you're already so gorgeously beautiful? I wonder how many young talents would be enamored by you in the future. The corner of Lu Muyen's lips twitched and glared at him. Shameless old man. Haha, stinky girl also knows how to be shy. Having not seen his granddaughter for many years, Ling Hongzhua missed her dearly, so the moment he saw her, he just wanted to joke around dotingly. Yi Qinghan and the 3 others immediately got up and greeted Ling Hongzhua formally. Junior greets Patriarch Ling. No need to be so polite. You all must be tired after following this stinky girl. I'll get some people to take you down to wash up and have a good rest. Ling Hongzhua's expression was harmonious. The 4 of them also knew that the Ling family and Lu Muyen had private things to say, so they all smiled and responded. Then this junior will leave first. After the 4 of them left, Ling Hongzhua patted Lu Muyen's head lightly and said, Little heartless stinky girl, only now do you remember to come see maternal grandpa. Lu Muyen also knew that her maternal grandfather's temperament was more like an old naughty boy than her paternal grandfather, so she smiled and wrapped her arms around his, saying, Before I was trash, so I was afraid that I'd blacken maternal grandfather's name. Now that I've washed away the name of trash, I've come to see you, my respected grandpa, and make you happy too. You stinky girl. When did I ever feel disgust towards you being trash? Whether you're trash or whether you're a genius, you're all my Ling Hongzhua's granddaughter. Ling Hongzhuo was helped by Lu Muyen to sit in the main seat. Lu Muyen stood next to him respectfully and smiled, saying, "Yes. Of course, I'm your granddaughter any time. Isn't it all just because I wanted to give you a pleasant surprise? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, no pleasant surprise, but there sure are a bunch of shocking terrors." Ling Hongzhuo rolled his eyes at her without a good attitude. Lu Muyen also didn't mind and giggled merrily to gloss over the situation, then addressed the two middle-aged men who entered the door last. "Second maternal uncle, third maternal uncle. Muyen has really grown up. No wonder they say that when women grow they change 18 times 1. Lu Muyan's second maternal uncle, Ling Ziming, praised with a smile. Lu Muyen used to be a domineering and willful little girl, who knew that it had only been 5 years' time, and she'd grow to look so slim and graceful with an outstanding temperament. Where's little maternal uncle? Lu Muyen had 4 maternal uncles in total. The most awesome and powerful maternal uncle was missing. Second maternal uncle and third maternal uncle were relatively more mediocre, while little maternal uncle was also an active and influential figure. Your little maternal uncle traveled to the southern region. Third maternal uncle Ling Ziwen said. Ever since the conversation with Yizhan, Lu Muyen also had a broader, general understanding of Tianling continent. She furrowed her brows and said, "Isn't it dangerous to travel to the southern region? He's already an adult. If he wants to venture into the world, then let him. It's useless to try to detain him." Ling Hongzhuo waved his hand dismissively and said indifferently, "When one's son grows up, their heart grows wild. Especially his youngest son and eldest son, who were both outstanding talents. It was a waste to detain them in this small world that was the Ling clan." Lu Muyen thought a bit then nodded. "That's true. Little maternal uncle's that smart, so he should be fine. Stinky girl, let's talk. What's the main purpose of you coming to the Ling clan this time?" Ling Hongzhuo looked at Lu Muyen with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. He had long heard that this girl had changed, but he didn't expect the change to be so big. But this was fine too. This way, she wouldn't be bullied by others. "Of course, I'm here to visit maternal grandpa and my maternal uncles," Lu Muyen said with a smile, confident and justly. "I learned a medical skill and I also came to remove the poison for elder cousin brother Fei Yang." "Stinky girl, I also heard that you're an alchemist now, but the poison in Fei Yang's body isn't that easy to cure." Mentioning his most highly thought-of grandson, Ling Hongzhuo's face grew sullen. After Ling Fei Yang was injured and poisoned, he had invited a number of physicians and alchemists to come for treatment, but they all had no idea. In the end, he invited a high-level alchemist from the Mu clan to refine a type of pill that suppressed the poison into his 2 legs. And only then was his life saved. It wasn't easy to completely get rid of the poison, but they hadn't completely given up yet. As long as there was a chance, they wanted to seize it. Maternal grandpa, the little princess of the Yi clan, Yi Qinglu, you all know of her, right? Naturally we know. That child is also pitiful. She had been tortured by the fetal poison since young, and they also invited who knows how many physicians and alchemists, yet still couldn't be cured. Ling Hongzhuo sighed, then asked Lu Muyen, "What are you mentioning her for? Don't tell me the poison in her body was cured by someone?" "Although the poison in her body hasn't been completely eliminated, but soon it will be," Lu Muyen said. "What?" Ling Hongzhuo exclaimed in disbelief. Even Ling Ziming and Ling Ziwen revealed gazes of incredulity. Yi Qingle's fetal poison was known among the 10 distinguished clans as extremely difficult to cure. Not long ago, there was even news that spread that she wouldn't live past 18 years old. Who would have thought that it was mostly cured now? Who has that ability to cure that kind of fetal poison? Ling Hongzhuo's tone appeared to carry some excitement. If that kind of domineering and powerful fetal poison could even be cured, then the person who cured it must have exceptional medical skills. Fei Yang's legs would also have hope. Ling Ziming and Ling Ziwen both watched Lu Muyen expectantly, waiting for her to speak. Ling Fei Yang was the most promising heir of the clan in the younger generation, and they also hoped that he could get rid of the chronic illness and stand up one day in the future. Lu Muyen chuckled lightly, pointed her finger at herself and said, seemingly far in the horizon but actually right in front of you too. Translated product by May Are Come True. Seemingly far in the horizon, but actually right in front of you. Lu Muyen smiled and pointed to herself as she said to them, her eyes gleaming with light, emanating a brilliant self-confidence that startled them. Is what stinky girl you are saying true? Ling Hongzhou reached out and flicked Lu Muyen's forehead. It wasn't that he didn't believe in his granddaughter, but it was just too unbelievable. An old ancestor of the Mu clan couldn't even get rid of the poison, but his granddaughter can cure it? Ling Ziming also smiled helplessly and said, Yener, don't joke with us anymore. Lu Muyen looked at the sky speechlessly. In fact, when she treated Yi Qinglu, everyone also just had an attitude of giving it a try. They didn't show it on the surface, but they didn't believe. Though this was normal. After all, her age was still too young right now. Maternal grandpa, second maternal uncle, third maternal uncle. You've also seen Yi Qinghan and the others come with me. This shows that I don't have a shallow relationship with him. After a pause, Lu Muyen added, I need to rush back to give Yi Qinglu acupuncture in 5 days, so this time I also specifically came to take elder cousin brother Fei Yang to the Yi clan for treatment. A month later, he'll be going to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony. Is this true? A stormy sea tossed about in Ling Hongzhu's heart, but when he saw his granddaughter's radiant eyes, he couldn't help but to believe. All right. I believe Yener will definitely cure Fei Yang's illness. Ling Ziwen remembered the look in Yi Qinghan's eyes when he looked at Lu Muyen before he left, and also felt that the relationship between the two was indeed not simple. If that's the case, then it'd be excellent. They all saw the pain Ling Fei Yang suffered in the past few years, and they also never gave up treatment. If Lu Muyen could really cure him now, then it'd be a happy thing for everyone. I want to go see elder cousin brother Fei Yang now. Lu Muyen said. Ling Feihao recovered from the shock and immediately stepped forward, took her hand, and quickly pulled her out the door. As he walked, he yelled to the others inside. I'll bring Yener to find eldest brother. Watching the back of the two leaving, Ling Ziming said with a complicated expression, I wonder if Mu Yen can really cure Fei Yang. The girl has already changed. I believe her. Ling Hongzhou stroked his beard and said firmly, Lu Muyen had changed a lot since she was injured by the person from the Gu clan last time. He had heard of many things as well. If there wasn't some fortuitous encounter, then it was definitely impossible. The little girl's medical skills were even more amazing. He believed that the mysterious master behind her doted on her very much, and he was willing to believe that his granddaughter wouldn't lie. Lu Muyen followed Ling Feihao to a secluded, quiet courtyard at the back. After they pushed open the courtyard gate, they saw a garden with flowers in full bloom, as brilliant as brocade, filled with the scent of spring. Following a path to the end was a maple forest. The red maple leaves whirled in the air, and fell with the wind as the sun shone through the dense maple leaves, reflecting scattered, warm light. There was a stone pavilion in the depths of the maple forest. From a distance, they could see a man in a wheelchair holding a book and savoring it. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang ordered someone to plant this maple forest? Lu Muyen remembered that this yard didn't have this scenery when she came 5 years ago. Ling Feihao sighed. Ever since eldest brother couldn't walk anymore, he fell in love with planting flowers and trees. This red maple forest was planted by himself. Lu Muyen swept the area of the red maple forest, pondered for a bit, then said, It can be seen that elder cousin brother Fei Yang actually hasn't given up on himself. He has always had hope in his life. Otherwise, how could he plant red maple trees that represented endurance, forging ahead ceaselessly and the love of life? Although eldest brother has been paralyzed for so long, but I've never seen sadness on his face. He's always bearing it quietly, which makes my heart hurt. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, let's go, he's discovered us. Seeing Ling Fei Yang, who was originally reading the book, lift his head, Lu Muyen walked over with a gentle smile on her lips. Ling Fei Yang was older than her by 5 years. When they were children, every time she came to the Ling clan, he would take her to play around, tolerating and spoiling her. She had a lot of affection for this elder cousin brother. After walking in, Lu Muyen saw that the young man in the wheelchair had handsome features, was elegant and cultured, carrying a bookish air which made people develop a favorable impression of him even at first sight. "Yener is here." Ling Fei Yang's voice was like tinkling spring water, clear and graceful, very pleasant to the ears. Lu Muyen smiled. "Elder cousin brother, long time no see. Yener has grown into a big girl now." Ling Fei Yang revealed a doting smile, and was truly fond of this younger cousin sister of hers with all his heart. Lu Muyen walked to the other side of him and sat down, then poured herself and Ling Fei Hao some tea. Upon smelling the fragrance of the tea, Ling Fei Yang raised his lips with a gentle smile, his temperament as gentle as jade. His eyes were pure black, as if a peaceful land that had never been contaminated, clean and comfortable. "What book is elder cousin brother reading?" Lu Muyen shifted her gaze to the book in Ling Fei Yang's hand. Ling Fei Yang chuckled and handed the book to her. "A book that can help my heart be calm like water." Lu Muyen took the book and scanned the pages. This was a Buddhist scripture. The scriptures within were rather deep and profound. Lu Muyen could see that this seemingly ordinary Buddhist scripture was actually a manual. Can eldest cousin brother comprehend the true meaning of the Buddhist scripture? "I only understand the surface of things. The true meaning is too profound. I only have a superficial understanding." Ling Fei Yan's eyes were bright. "Yener knows the true meaning of this Buddhist scripture?" "I don't know." Lu Muyen shook her head and said, "But I believe that if elder cousin brother thoroughly comprehends this Buddhist scripture, then you'll definitely obtain unexpected benefits." "What sign language are you two speaking in?" Ling Fei Hao took a sip of tea and flipped through the Buddhist scriptures randomly, then asked in confusion, "Isn't this just an ordinary Buddhist scripture? What unexpected benefits can you get?" "I actually think eldest brother is better off reading it less, otherwise you'll almost become a monk without any desires." Ling Fei Yang laughed when he heard his words. "The difference between you and Yener really isn't just a little bit. Elder cousin brother Fei Hao, your personality is only suited to gossip about the secrets of the men in the 10 distinguished clans. Such deep questions aren't suitable for you." Lu Muyen also laughed aloud, teasing. Ling Fei Hao wasn't stupid. He naturally heard from their words that the two of them felt that he was too hasty, so he huffed. "It's so unkind of you two to unite and ridicule me." "Haha." Lu Muyen and Ling Fei Yang couldn't help laughing aloud. After a while, Ling Fei Yang personally raised the teapot to fill Lu Muyen's cup. Why did Yener suddenly come to the Ling clan this time? After Ling Fei Hao brought back news that Lu Muyen could have fallen at the glacial mountain range, the Ling clan felt exceptional grief. Fortunately, the news that she had returned to the Lu clan safely was received not long ago, which helped everyone walk out of that grief. This time she came to the Ling clan quietly without any news, so there must be some situation. Lu Muyen looked at him with a smile and said, "Naturally to come and treat elder cousin brother Fei Yang's illness." This sentence instantly dropped a stone in the originally calm lake of Ling Fei Yang's heart, beginning waves upon waves of ripples. Chapter 153. Blood curse poison. Ling Fei Yang's calm black eyes were filled with deepness that others couldn't understand. When he heard Lu Muyen's words, his heart was uncontrollably beaten. Ever since he was paralyzed and in a wheelchair, he had never given up the hope of continuing to survive. But as time went by, after countless physicians and alchemists came and went, the final result had always been helplessness. It had been 3 years. From the initial anticipation and excitement, to the calmness of his heart now. He just never expected that one sentence could make his dried-up heart slowly come alive, as if it had been watered. "Yener, how would you treat me? Let me take a look at the poison in your body first." Lu Muyen placed her teacup down, reached out to hold Ling Fei Yan's wrist, and checked quietly. Lu Muyen felt Ling Fei Yang's arteries, then extended a sliver of mental energy and spiritual energy with some green mist into his body to check bit by bit. The meridians weren't blocked, and although the cultivation base was slow because of the poison, it didn't stop either. She probed deeper. After a while, Her willow brows furrowed together unconsciously. There was a trace of black energy wound around the dantian with a disgusting aura of death. Passing the dantian, she headed towards his thigh and found that all the poison in Ling Fei Yang's body had been suppressed by the ancestor of the Mu clan in the calves. Taking a look with her mental energy, the meridians of the calves had already begun to show signs of deterioration. The bone and blood had long been stained dark red, and traces of poison like black threads continued to coil around. She retracted her hand and sighed. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang has been tortured a lot in the past few years. At least more than 10 hours a day. Your calves would be in extreme pain. Ling Fei Yang smiled faintly. Used to it. Hearing his calm words like the wind and clouds, without any fluctuations in emotions, Lu Muyen couldn't help but feel sour in her heart, as well as admiration. This kind of poison wasn't only very poisonous, but it had also been cursed. The black threads circling the dantian, and the calves were the resentments produced by an evil spirit that were refined by the devil cultivator. Her eyes gradually cooled. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang, is the person who poisoned you still alive? Do you still remember what he looks like? Alive. He injured me, but I also heavily injured him. But I'm sure he won't be in life-threatening danger. Ling Fei Yang paused, then said, "Oh, remember his appearance even if he turned to ashes." When Lu Muyen saw Ling Fei Yang mentioning the person who put him in such pain that made one wish he was dead, there wasn't much resentment on his face. She sighed inwardly that this elder cousin brother's temperament truly had been toughened a lot over the years. He probably also understood the majority of that scripture. But this also had its advantages. In the future, when the poison in his body was removed, with Ling Fei Yang's current character and composure, his future achievements would definitely not be low. Good fortune laid within the bad and bad fortune lurked within the good. When elder cousin brother has time, please paint a portrait of him for me. Lu Muyan's voice was grim. What does Yenner want his portrait for? Ling Fei Yang asked in a daze, puzzled. Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow with a rare sternness between her brows. Naturally, so that we can deal with the person as they've dealt to you, making him live worse than death. Ling Fei Yang didn't expect Lu Muyan to say such words, and a warmth rose on his handsome face. Yenner, your temper sure has become bolder and more domineering, having not met in a few years. If you owe a favor, you must repay it, and if you have feuds, then you must repay it hundredfold. This is how I deal with things now. Lu Muyan raised her head and smiled. Regardless of whether it was her past life or present, dealing with situations using this law had been deeply engraved into her soul. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, that's very good. Ling Fei Yang had admiration in his eyes. Yenner should be like this. You won't be bullied by others in the future. That's right. In the future, only I'll bully others. And if others want to bully me, then I'll peel off a few layers of their skin. Lu Muyan raised her chin, looking very much tsundere. Ling Fei Yang watched her amusedly. Yenner's temperament is very good right now. Only in this way could she survive in this world where strength was respected. Elder cousin brother, how much do you know about the poison in your body? Lu Muyan thought for a bit, then asked. I only know that there's a vicious blood curse in the poison that the devil cultivator cast. But it's also precisely because of this curse that all the physicians and alchemists who have taken a look at me couldn't treat it. Ling Fei Yang said. Lu Muyan nodded. This kind of iniquitous skill is refined using the evil spirit's resentments. After mixing it with poison, it's indeed difficult to cure with pills or medicines. Hearing Yenner's tone, you understand this sort of iniquitous skill? Ling Fei Yang's dull eyes revealed more expectancy. Not only do I understand, but I can also cure this kind of blood curse. She understood these things really thanks to when she turned into a mortal and traveled to that place that prospered in goo poison and curses and learnt of it. Ling Fei Yang was slightly startled. Before he could speak, Ling Fei Hao grabbed Lu Muyan's arm and said excitedly, Yenner, can you really cure the blood curse in eldest brother's body? But because this blood curse is very insidious, I have to prepare some things and arrange an array before I can do anything. After the blood curse is resolved, It'll be much easier to remove the poison in elder cousin brother Fei Yang's body. This type of curse contained the curse giver's blood essence and resentment, so it was very troublesome to resolve. Ling Fei Yang nodded with a smile and said, "As long as I can dispel the curse and poison in my body, then I'm willing to try any method. I believe in Yinner. Don't worry, elder cousin brother Fei Yang, I'll make sure you stand up again." Lu Muyen smiled, and that self-confidence that scorned the heavens was unconsciously revealed again. Ling Fei Yan's heart moved. Muyen, this little girl, really was different. No matter whether it could be cured or not, he believed that she'd do her best. "Yenner, then when will you start to remove the curse for my eldest brother?" Ling Fei Hao controlled his excitement and asked. "I'm currently removing poison for Yiqing Luo in Luoxi City. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang's situation with poison is somewhat similar to hers. I came this time to bring elder cousin brother back to the Yi clan for treatment together," Lu Muyen said bluntly. Although Ling Fei Yang and Yiqing Luo were inflicted with different poisons, but they both needed medicated baths to soak in. In treating them together, 1, they would be able to encourage each other, and 2, it was also more convenient for her to prepare medicinal liquids and apply acupuncture. Ling Fei Yang was silent for a moment, then lifted his head and asked. "The Yi clan rarely interacted with the Ling clan. If I went to Luoxi City for treatment, will it affect their neutral attitude that they've maintained?" "It won't. I've already discussed it with the patriarch of the Yi clan." Lu Muyen had thought of this layer long ago. "So what if it's affected? Even the Yi clan's not afraid. What are we afraid of?" "I was thinking too much." As expected, Yenner is a perceptive person. Ling Fei Yang lowered his head and smiled. Lu Muyen was right. The Ling clan was currently suffering from internal and external troubles, so what was there to worry about? Since the Yi clan's patriarch dared to let him go to Luoxi City for treatment, then he was probably prepared to be dragged into the water together. Elder cousin brother is a smart person. You've just been too scrupulous before. In fact, the 3 clans of Yi, Shi and Mu are already secretly united, and the Xian, Shui and Lu clan have also formed an alliance. They've long broken the rule that the 10 distinguished clans can't join forces together unilaterally. We naturally don't need to follow it anymore either," Lu Muyen said. Ling Fei Yang's white and slender fingers tapped on the wheelchair's armrest lightly, and gradually saw the direction where the Ling clan should be headed for in the future. Translated product by May Arcum. True note. Welp, wasn't it that in chapter 62, I checked, haha. They were certain the devil cultivator was dead. XD, but could have been a misunderstanding on Ling Yuzin's, LMY's mother's part. Or a plot hole. XD. Chapter 154. The 3 danger areas that could move. Seeing that Ling Fei Yang had sunk into thought, Lu Muyen also didn't bother him. As the future heir to the Ling clan, that had been decided long ago, he had already taken on heavy responsibilities now, and she knew that he was willing to do things for the Ling clan. "Yenner, why do you know so many things now?" Ling Fei Hao remembered the pills and drug powder that Lu Muyen stuffed them in the glacial mountain range, and couldn't resist asking. Lu Muyen thought for a while, then repeated what she said to the Lu clan. "I entered a dreamland after being injured by Gu Yen Ran. In the dreamland, I went to a continent that didn't exist here, and I stayed there for a long time, so I also naturally learned a lot of things." "Your alchemy skills were also learnt in that continent?" Ling Fei Hao paused, then asked slowly. Indeed. Who in the Ling clan that she could trust, she knew in her heart, so she didn't conceal anything. They're all relatives who were exceptionally good to her, and they're also the family she was determined to protect. Ling Fei Hao's eyes widened and said, "So that means the mysterious master behind you is all fake?" "Basically." Lu Muyen smiled, then said to him gravely, "But you're not allowed to tell anyone." Ling Fei Hao rolled his eyes at her, and the corner of his lips couldn't stop rising. "You think we're fools, huh? You definitely can't tell anyone about something like this, otherwise trouble will come." If other people knew that there was no mysterious master behind Lu Muyen, and everything she knew came from her fortuitous encounters in that dreamland, then there would definitely be a lot of people who would covet it. There may even be powerhouses who would do some despicable and sinister things to want to take it for themselves, such as soul-searching. As long as you know. You're all my most trusted family, so I won't hide it from you. Lu Muyan smiled softly. Ling Fei Yang and Ling Fei Hao both revealed a touch of being visibly moved. This kind of trust made their heart very warm. Good Yenner, then did you refine the marrow cleansing pill yourself? Ling Fei Hao asked, rubbing his hands. Lu Muyan took out 2 porcelain bottles and tossed it to them, looking at him amusedly and said, Of course I refined it. I wanted to give them to you before going to the glacial mountain range, but I was afraid that someone would find out and cause trouble, so I left it till now. Yenner, you're too awesome. Ling Fei Hao took the porcelain bottle carefully and put it away. Lu Muyan could even refine a pill of such a grade, and with such heaven-defying power. There were indeed some fortuitous encounters in the dreamland, but it also meant that her talent was extremely abnormal. If it were him who entered, without that talent, even if he knew the pill formula, he wouldn't be able to refine it. The conditions for beginning an alchemist were actually very harsh. First, one must comprehend the fire elemental energy law, otherwise they wouldn't be able to use fire to refine pills. Second, one must be able to comprehend the wood elemental law. Only then could one better comprehend the essence of refining spiritual herbs. The reason why alchemists on Tianling continent were so rare was because there were so few people who met these 2 conditions. I've just got some better luck. Lu Muyan smiled in a rare display of modesty. Luck is also a part of strength. If Yenner hadn't been able to comprehend the dual attributes of fire and wood elemental energy law, then you wouldn't have been able to turn an opportunity into strength. Ling Fei Yang returned from his thoughts, rubbed the white porcelain bottle in his hands, and said with a faint smile. Lu Muhan smiled and lifted her chin. That's only natural. Just look at from which clan I've come from. The Lu and Ling clans didn't lack prodigies the most. She actually didn't say those words because she was arrogant and conceited. The Lu and Ling clans' pupils did indeed have many talented heirs, but their development was restricted only because of resources and other practical conditions. If these people were moved to the distinguished clans of the southern and northern regions, she believed that after they came out, even if they wouldn't be a major influence in one area, but they wouldn't be worse than pupils that came from certain big clans who were piled up with drugs and excelling resources. Yenner is indeed very good. Ling Fei Yang said, chuckling. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Such a Lu Muyan was very lively, bold, and self-confident, which was very likable. They chatted again for a long time before leaving this red maple forest. The second day, Lu Muyan accompanied her respected grandfather for a day, then wandered around Feng Hill City with Yi Qinghan and the others. Early the third day, they bid farewell, sat on Bingji, and flew towards the 3 danger areas of Sunset Cloud Mountain. Looking at the ice lawn that disappeared in the yard, Ling Ziming had yet to recover. Yenner actually contracted a Tier 6 descendant of a Cyan Luan. It truly is surprising. Haha, Ling Hongzhua laughed merrily. Yenner is naturally the best. Yesterday when Lu Muyan gave him 10 marrow cleansing pills, it almost frightened him to unconsciousness. When he knew that she refined it herself, he was even more stunned and couldn't say a word. So it turned out that his family's Yenner had experienced that kind of fortuitous encounter. That's why she had changed so much. This was a great fortune. And it was also as the divine seer had said, Lu Muyan was reborn after dying. Her future prospects were unlimited, so it shouldn't be surprising that she was able to contract a descendant of a divine beast. The Ling clan's brothers naturally also found out about Lu Muyan's fortuitous encounter, and also couldn't resist nodding in agreement. They only hoped that when Fei Yang returned this time, his legs had already recovered the ability to walk. Bingji deliberately suppressed his flying speed, and maintained the flight speed of a Tier 6 demonic beast, but it was still very fast. It didn't even take 4 hours before he stopped in front of their first danger area in Sunset Cloud Mountain Range. Looking at the misty mountain forest ahead, Lu Muyan revealed some interest on her face. This mist could even block out mental energy. Interesting. Didn't they say that there are 3 danger areas in Sunset Cloud Mountain Range? Where are the other 2? After scanning the misty forest, Lu Muyan asked Yi Qinghan and the others. Ling Feiyong sat in his wheelchair pushed by Yunlan, his eyes deep. The 3 danger areas in Sunset Cloud Mountain are all connected together, and after entering this misty forest, each group of people may all appear in different places. All different? Lu Muyan asked curiously, turning around. This misty forest is the only way to the 3 danger areas, and the 3 danger areas could all move, so it depends on time and luck to see which one you'll fall on. Ling Feiyong said indifferently. You mean to say that the 3 danger areas are constantly shifting and changing positions? Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow. That's also to say we might set foot on the area with Tier 9 demonic beasts? Yes, it's indeed possible. Ling Feiyong nodded. Lu Muyan raised her head and looked at the misty forest not far away. She couldn't even penetrate it with her mental energy. The Sunset Cloud Mountain Range was indeed very mysterious. If you're unlucky to set foot on the place where the Tier 9 demonic beast is located, wouldn't it mean you'll definitely die? She just felt that it wasn't that simple, otherwise, who'd dare to enter this misty forest easily, and who'd be able to guarantee that their luck would be so good that they'd definitely not encounter a Tier 9 demonic beast. Bing Ji, who had already turned into a 7-colored parrot, stood on her shoulder and sneered. Is a Tier 9 demonic beast so easy to meet? There being a Tier 9 demonic beast here is just a legend. Even if it exists, he wouldn't bother appearing and killing you low-level humans. High-level demonic beasts had their own pride, let alone a Tier 9 demonic beast that's at an even higher level than him. Of course, he was also very curious about what kind of demonic beast race the legendary Tier 9 demonic beast was, so it wasn't bad if they accidentally met. Come true. Chapter 155. Being spied on. Do you all think Tier 9 demonic beasts are that easy to encounter? Bing Jis sneer echoed in the ears of the several people. Can't you use your demonic sense to feel whether there's a demonic beast stronger than you in there? Lu Muyan telepathically asked Bing Ji. Bing Ji pursed his lips. Half of my demonic energy was sealed by that kid, so my demonic sense naturally couldn't penetrate it either. Lu Muyan chuckled at his tone. Even if he didn't seal your demonic energy, your demonic sense can't penetrate that layer of fog, right? Bing Ji froze. Cough. That layer of fog is a natural barrier, so even if the Tier 9 demonic beast is here, it'd be unable to spy. Lu Muyan no longer communicated telepathically to him, and asked the several people with a smile on her lips. Do you all still want to go in? What's Muyan's plan? Yi Qinghan asked with some interest on his face. Naturally, to go in and take a look. There's no reason to shrink back after coming. Lu Muyan said. Shifeng and Mu Yi also had never entered the 3 dangerous areas, so at this time, they were filled with interest. Lu Muyan, a little girl, wasn't even afraid, they were even less so. Although Ling Feiyong sat in a wheelchair, but his cultivation base still remained at Sword King. He smiled softly and said, Let's go in and take a look. Yunlan naturally wouldn't object, so he pushed Ling Feiyong into the foggy forest with the few people. There wasn't anything like poisonous gas when entering the foggy forest, and instead, the spiritual force inside was much denser than outside, while it was still a foggy scenery up ahead, unable to see what's in front. Everyone be careful. Yi Qinghan found out that after entering the foggy forest, his mental energy still couldn't detect his surroundings, so he cautiously said to the few people. Lu Muyan thought for a bit, then released Mo Yan. Do you know this kind of foggy forest? Mo Yan's indifferent eyes swept the surroundings, then telepathically said. This is a natural spiritual force barrier that can isolate all probing of mental energy and demonic sense. But the demonic beasts deep in the forest can still discover all your presences. Is there really a Tier 9 demonic beast here? Lu Muyan thought that since there were such rumors, it shouldn't be too distorted. Mo Yan said. Naturally there is. He's paying attention to all your movements at this moment. What? Lu Muyan was stunned, then asked. How did you know that when you can't use your demonic sense to probe the fog? Although the demonic sense can't penetrate into the foggy forest, I can still feel a very faint demonic sense currently cast towards us. All your movements can't escape his eyes. Mo Yan's tone carried a rare trace of gravity. Lu Muyen furrowed her brows and said, "Then aren't we just voluntarily sending ourselves to his door for him to slaughter? Is it really the aura of a Tier 9 demonic beast? I'm certain it's definitely a Tier 9 demonic beast spying. As for slaughtering you guys, I don't think that's likely. There's no killing intent in his aura." Mo Yen paused, then said, "You're just catching a few Tier 5 demonic beasts, you want anger him. As long as you don't step into the range of his core territory, then it's fine. Is this the pride of you demonic beasts?" Lu Muyen asked, remembering Bing Jia's words. Mo Yen glanced lightly at the ostentatious 7-colored parrot on Lu Muyen's shoulder, then said, "It's not necessarily that every demonic beast is unbending and proud, but for most high-level demonic beasts, they follow such a principle and aren't as calculating as humans. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." "Thanks, Mo Kid. Why did you look at this little master one when you said the first part?" Bing Jia's voice sounded in Lu Muyan's sea of consciousness. Lu Muyan's ancient contract skill was different from the beast-taming skill of this continent. All demonic beasts could communicate on their own in the sea of consciousness, so Mo Yan's words were naturally heard by Bing Ji. Mo Yan looked at him coldly. "I mean precisely you, what will you do?" This bird talked in Lu Muyan's sea of consciousness all day. It was just too noisy. "Humph, this little master won't lower myself to the same level as you, a Tier 5 demonic beast." Bing Ji found that Mo Yan's gaze was too horrifying and also knew that the other party's bloodline talent was much purer than him as a descendant of a Cyan Luan, so every time they fought, there was always a pressure. Offending this Mo kid definitely was more awful than offending owner. Even if Mo Yan's Tier 5 now, you probably still won't be able to beat him with you currently suppressed at Tier 6. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said with a smile, speaking more favorably about Mo Yan. After all, Mo Yan was a high-level demon cultivator that had recultivated. He had broken through from Tier 1 all the way to Tier 5 in such a short time, and his cultivation speed was much faster than hers. Bing Ji, this dabbler divine beast, simply couldn't be compared to him. Moreover, in terms of experience and exposure, Bing Ji couldn't catch up to Mo Yan, not even by a dozen streets. "Owner, you're too biased. Bing Ji likes you so much. How could you like that cold fellow more?" Bing Ji had long felt that Mo Yan wasn't simple. That's why he naturally wouldn't be so stupid as to provoke him again and again, so he rubbed Lu Muyan's shoulder with his head and changed the subject. Lu Muyan held her forehead. Was this guy really a Tier 8 demonic beast? Why did he have no principles or ethics? But with the addition of Bing Ji, their lives had become a lot livelier. Although sometimes he was a bit noisy, but it could also make people unconsciously relax. At the same time, sitting in a towering palace was a cyan-clothed man with a grave and stern appearance, wearing a crown. There was an image condensed from demonic sense in front of him, and within the image were the movements of Lu Muyen and her group. "Monarch, do they need to be cleaned up?" A dark-skinned man stood respectfully beneath the man's throne and asked after looking at the scene in the image. The cyan-clothed man laid his chin on his fist languidly and said in a cold and indifferent voice, "As long as they don't step into the Thunder Domain, you don't need to care." They were just a few Sword King stage swordmasters and weren't worth him acting. Not to mention he had long made an agreement with human powerhouses. As long as human sword masters didn't step into the Thunder Domain, then it wasn't considered an encroachment. Yes. He waved his hand casually, and the image in midair disappeared instantly. Then he got up and went back to his sleeping quarters. His demonic sense has been withdrawn. Mo Yen stared into the air and suddenly said. Lu Muyen nodded. When she first entered this foggy forest, although she couldn't feel the demonic sense Mo Yen spoke of, but she had felt a kind of palpitation of fear in her heart. Now that bad feeling had also disappeared. Her mental energy, ever since the last time in the glacial mountain range where it was condensed into a net and completely depleted, had fallen into a state of dormancy. This was a state where it was accumulating to explode and advance. Now she could only use a small part of it, so she couldn't detect the opponent's demonic sense. The few people fumbled and walked slowly for a while. Then Lu Muyan's eyes sharpened. She raised her hand and flicked a few fire blades towards the front left of her. Be careful. As soon as her voice fell, everyone heard the densely packed sounds of shoo shoo, and countless icicles sprayed out from the thick fog in front of them, directly attacking them. When approaching, 1/3 of the icicles were melted by Lu Muyan's fire blades while the remaining 2/3 were slightly blocked before continuing to fly towards the few other people. But with Lu Muyan's reminder and the buffer of the fire blades, the others had long reacted, waving their swords, and numerous sword auras that exuded different colored lights slashed towards the icicles. Translated product by May Our Come True 1, Xiaoye. I just translated it to Little Master. But this master has the meaning of the master from young master, and not the master as in master-disciple. Once again an arrogant way of self-address that one can use. But I guess Bingji isn't too confident in front of Mo Yen this time because he didn't use Big Master, like he did with Huashao hahaha. For continuing readers, instead of this uncle that I translated to initially when Bingji spoke with Huashao, I changed it to Big Master cause it made more sense. Yeah, why I'm so bothered by these small details tbhxd. Chapter 156. Scorching Flame Technique. The sword auras that the few shot out collided with the icicles, and the countless icicles weren't as strong as the sword auras, so they shattered into several pieces, falling to the ground. Yi Qinghan's eyes grew cold and moved 2 fingers. The long sword in his hand suddenly grew bigger, and he swung straight towards the front left. A sword aura with a strong wave of elemental energy emerged from the sword and swept out. Squeak squeak. Several icicles larger than before greeted Yi Qinghan's sword aura accompanied by a few rat squeaks. The two converged in midair in the dense fog, and the strong purple sword aura swept in an arc, then instantly separated into countless wisps of sword auras. It not only cut down the icicles, but a few wisps also headed towards the front left where the icicles erupted from. Squeak squeak. A few screams of rats sounded in the thick fog again. The few people exchanged looks, then walked in the direction of the shrieking, each of them activating a layer of elemental energy shields. When they approached that location, the few people saw 3 blue rats around the size of a rabbit watch them vigilantly, ready to attack at any time. One of them was injured by Yi Qinghan's sword aura, and was lying on the ground rolling and shrieking. Shoo shoo. As soon as the few people approached, the 2 uninjured ice fog rats spat out rows upon rows of icicles, attacking them, filled with killing intent. Lu Muyan sneered, snapped her fingers and pointed her finger towards the sky as she whispered, "Fireball technique." Following her voice, a wave of heat spread out in the sky above, and in a short while fist-sized fireballs fell continuously from the sky. As soon as the icicles that were shot out touched the fireball, they continuously let off white steam, gradually melting into water droplets. The fireball shot indiscriminately and fell uninterrupted, instantly dissolving all the icicles into droplets of water. But the fireballs didn't stop, and they fell in the direction where the 3 ice fog rats were half squatting. The 2 uninjured ice fog rats instantly ran away, but fireballs would also touch their fur and skin, so their shrieks kept sounding. While that ice fog rat that was already injured and unable to run was even more miserable. The fireballs fell on its body one by one, and not long after, the shrieks gradually faded. The body of the ice fog rat was also burned to ashes by the fireball. Seeing the 2 ice fog rats fleeing while shrieking in one direction, Lu Muyan's eyes grew cold and pinched a seal in her hands. Since the 2 ice fog rats wanted to attack and kill them secretly, then they should be prepared to be counterkilled. She wouldn't let them have the opportunity to seek help from the Rat King. Just when the 2 ice fog rats thought they were lucky to have escaped the fireballs, and wanted to go find reinforcements, a huge fire wave suddenly surged from ahead of them. Before they could react, they were swallowed by it, and also burned to ashes. Muyan, has your fire elemental energy reached the state where it could do as your heart pleased? Mu-Yi stared at the fireball and fire wave that had disappeared in surprise, and the emotions in his heart didn't tumble any less actively than the fire wave. Comprehending elemental energy law until the state where one could control it as they pleased usually required one to have reached the hurdle of entering a sword sovereign stage from peak phase sword monarch. Only then could one be able to have that revelation. But how did Lu Muyen, who was only at Sword King's strength, able to do it? While he was shocked, he was also very puzzled. As a master at playing with fire, Shifeng's face couldn't help but change when he saw Lu Muyen control the fire elemental energy as her heart pleased, and was also wondering how she did it. Even Yi Qinghan and the other two looked at her in confusion. Lu Muyen brushed her sleeves and smiled faintly, saying, "It's just a technique." The fireball technique was a basic technique that cultivators during the meditation stage could practically all do, but it was laborious and time-consuming to practice it to perfection. It just so happened that when she was at the meditation stage, because her cultivation base was soaring too fast, causing it to be unstable, she used these techniques to practice one by one until perfection, and the rewards were very high. Not only did it stabilize her cultivation base, but it also had miraculous effects against opponents. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks not only the scorching flame technique, even water condensing technique, weathering technique and the other techniques had all been practiced by her until the perfection state. The fireball technique she used just now was a type of scorching flame technique. It was originally controlled by spiritual energy, but this continent had a stronger comprehension of the elements, so the effect of using fire elemental energy condensation was better than using spiritual energy. She had indeed reached the state where it did as her heart pleased, but it completely relied on her previous lives' experience and painstaking practice. It wasn't something one could do with just talent. Technique? It's the first time I've seen such a technique. Shifeng rubbed his chin and asked, "Muyen, is it convenient for you to tell me the name of your technique?" Scorching flame technique. Lu Muyen didn't conceal it either. Hearing this name, the few people fell into deep thought, but it bore no fruits. They had indeed not heard of this type of technique. These kinds of techniques are actually just some ways to get started with the elements. It wasn't easy to cultivate to perfection, but if you want, I can make a copy of the scorching flame technique on a jade slip for you to study. Lu Muyen said very openly and generously with a smile. This kind of technique was found anywhere in the clans and sects of the immortal cultivation world, and wasn't much of a secret at all. If one wanted to cultivate it to perfection, aside from the talent of comprehending the laws, the most important thing was to be able to calm one's heart and ceaselessly train. Since Mu Yi and the others were all interested, it didn't matter if she gifted it to them. Whether they could cultivate it to perfection or not was dependent on their own level of hard work. Isn't that not good? Records of techniques are exceptionally precious. Yi Qinghan shook his head slightly. Although methods weren't as rare as pill formulas and smithing secret books, but was also extremely precious, especially records of techniques. They were even rarely found in the public. For example, if a jade slip of the technique Lu Muyen just used was auctioned off at an auction, then the price would definitely be exceptionally high. Mu Yi and Shifeng were extremely excited, and there was some burning desire in their eyes. They were in professions that dealt with fire in the long term, so they were naturally very excited about this kind of technique. However, after listening to Yi Qinghan's words, they also thought that Lu Muyen did things freely and generously, but they couldn't take advantage of it. Technique records are hard to come by. I'm indeed really interested in this scorching flame technique, but I can't get it for nothing. With a thought, an extra cyan bead appeared in Mu Yi's hand. This is a water-repelling bead which can activate a layer of light shield for protection, and could be used as a defensive magic tool. When used underwater, you can avoid the water current and walk around freely. When worn on you, it also has the effect of warming in winter and cooling in summer. How about I exchange this with you? After listening to him, Lu Muyen became rather interested in this water-repelling bead and jokingly said, "This bead already isn't a common product at first glance. Are you sure you're willing to exchange a middle-level magic treasure for a technique? What's there to be unwilling? Your scorching flame technique is more suitable for my identity as a smith." Mu Yi's persistent love for smithing was no less than Shifeng's love for alchemy. Not to mention he was also a fire lover. Sure deal. Lu Muyen took out a few empty jade slips and copied the scorching flame technique, using mental energy onto it. Then threw it to them one by one. Shifeng also gave Lu Muyen an offensive magic treasure on him in exchange. While Yi Qinghan, Ling Feiyang and Yin Lan's exchange items were rejected by her. Their relationship would appear too distant if even gifting a technique required them to trade something. Mu Yi and Shifeng didn't care about her actions either. Everyone knew the principle that there were differences between close ones and distant ones. They didn't want her to suffer any losses to begin with, and they were even more willing to trade things in exchange for techniques. It was better than owing personal favors. The few took a rest for a bit, then continued to move onwards. After walking for more than 2 hours, the mist in the forest faded a little bit. When they got a foothold, the surrounding scenery suddenly changed. Come true. Chapter 157. Human-eating bloodthorn vine. As soon as one stepped out of the foggy forest, the surrounding scenery suddenly changed. What entered the eye was a deep and quiet narrow path with no end in sight. The two sides of the path were covered with golden thorn bushes, and the surroundings were very quiet, though there were still birds flying by in the sky. I wonder which one of the 3 danger areas this is? Mu Yi pressed his lips together tightly as he observed the surroundings. I just feel a sense of oppressiveness. Yi Qinghan stepped forward, then with a thought he released a big-eared rabbit from his spirit beast ring, and threw it onto the narrow path. The few people looked ahead fixedly, only to see the rabbit jumping into the golden thorn bush happily, and its life force didn't disappear. Let's go too, Yi Qinghan said. Lu Muyen narrowed her eyes and telepathically said to Mo Yen, "Can you tell if there's anything? I just feel that it's weird here, but even after that rabbit went in, nothing happened, so it should be temporarily safe. Of course, you shouldn't let your guard down." Mo Yen replied, I also think there's definitely a problem here. Oh well, confront soldiers with generals and stem water with earth one." Seeing Yi Qinghan and the others step onto the narrow path, Lu Muyen cautioned, "You should all activate an elemental energy shield and prepare defensive magic tools. It's better to be careful." Upon listening to her, the others didn't consider it much either, and they all directly activated an elemental energy shield. They also didn't advance quickly. The narrow path was very deep and quiet, and after walking about a quarter of an hour, there still wasn't any sight of the end. The further they walked inside, more layers upon layers of tall and strong trees with luxuriant leaves enveloped the branches. The sunlight passed through the leaves but was mostly blocked, and the light grew dimmer and dimmer. Lu Muyan's mental energy was still dormant, and she couldn't explore the situation ahead. So she told the 3 spirit pets in her sea of consciousness, "You 3, pay attention to whether there are any abnormalities around us. Little owner, something's not right here. I keep feeling a very faint aura of demonic beasts secretly overflowing. It should be deliberately hidden." Bing Jis' small eyes rolled around and around as he said cautiously, Mo Yin naturally also found the aura. The being who's here isn't kind. If it isn't that it's proficient in concealment methods, then this piece of golden thorn forest is in its area of control. Meow Meow got out of Lu Muyan's sleeve and flicked its tongue irritably ahead. Hiss hiss. Because it was still in its infancy, it wasn't able to communicate through the demonic consciousness, so it could only vaguely convey a kind of emotion for Lu Muyen to feel. Lu Muyen stretched out her hand and gently stroked its forehead to soothe it, then said to the few people who were walking together, "Be prepared to fight." "Fight? There's abnormalities?" Mui stopped and looked at her in confusion. He had been releasing his mental energy in caution, and he hadn't found any demonic beasts or life forces around. But before Lu Muyen could answer, the golden thorn bushes around the path appeared as if they had come alive and suddenly scurried about, turning into slender vines one by one and crept towards the feet of the several people. "There are human-eating blood thorn vines hidden in the golden thorn bushes. Everyone be careful." Yi Qinghan was a spirit beast master after all, and at this time, also discovered the abnormality. Seeing thorny golden yellow vines sneak out from the cover of the golden thorn bushes, he exclaimed. Hearing what he said, the others took out their long swords and slashed towards the golden vines that were about to wind around their feet. But after only cutting off a few sections of blood thorn vines, more of them slithered out from the golden thorn bushes, wanting to wrap around their feet even faster. Hurry and use fire elemental energy attacks. Yi Qing Han reminded the several people while waving his longsword. The human-eating blood thorn vine was a plant that absorbed human blood and life force. If it cultivated into a spirit, then it could also become a demon cultivator. In addition to demonic beasts, there were also demonic plants in this world. Come and read on our website Wuxia World Site. Thanks. Human-eating blood thorn vines couldn't be killed. As long as its roots weren't dead, it could birth countless twigs and vines to siege and kill living organisms. Even a sword master's fire attribute elemental energy couldn't kill it. Shi Feng and Mu Yi were both masters in playing with fire, and their fire elemental energy could also be condensed. The two quickly formed a seal in front of their chests. Suddenly, a giant axe condensed from elemental energy appeared in Shi Feng's hand, and he slashed down axe after axe towards the surrounding golden vines. A fire snake slithered out from Mu Yi's hand, opened its mouth, and bit towards the golden vines that came up to besiege him. Ling Feiyong was sitting in the wheelchair with deep, dark eyes, then formed a seal, and more than a dozen firebirds emerged from his hand, instantly spreading their wings, rushing towards the golden vines that were about to wrap around his feet. Neither Yi Qing Han nor Yun Lan had the fire attribute elemental energy, so the two could only use their element sword auras to slay the vines without knowing what weariness was, making it so that the vines couldn't get close. Lu Muyen flipped over her slender jade-like hands and fire lotuses floated from her hand. As soon as it touched the golden vines on the ground, they would scatter automatically. The petals of the fire lotuses enveloped the vines, and the golden vines instantly turned to ashes. She watched Shi Feng and the others' elemental energy condensation, and also couldn't resist admiring that the talents of these three people were indeed excelling. With this kind of fire elemental energy condensation, and the further study of the scorching fire technique she gave them, once the two effects overlapped, they would surely become an unexpected, invincible killer trump card. Seeing Yun Lan and Yi Qing Han strenuously resisting waves of inexhaustible golden vines, the several people also divided their condensed fire elemental energy to help them. Soon, the blood thorn vines that snuck out from the golden thorn bushes gradually diminished, and there were piles of ashes in front of them. Squeak! Right when Lu Muyen and the others gained the upper hand, a harsh shriek suddenly sounded from within the forest. It's the human-eating blood thorn vine king. Mo Yan's voice entered Lu Muyen's ears telepathically. Lu Muyen was startled for the moment. She didn't expect that this place could birth such a blood vine king. A human-eating blood thorn vine king was so rare it was difficult to meet even in tens of thousands of years. As long as the human-eating blood thorn vine king wasn't eliminated, the golden vines would also never be destroyed. After killing a batch, it could immediately reproduce a new bunch of twigs. It was exceptionally difficult to deal with, and if any average human sword masters or demonic beasts met it, they would undoubtedly die. Then her eyes lit up. The principle of interdependence of fortune and misfortune was the same no matter what situation it was used in. Although this human-eating blood thorn vine was difficult to deal with, but it could grow a type of blood thorn sac within it. The blood thorn sac could not only be used to refine pills, but it could also be used to brew spiritual wine. The spiritual wine brewed couldn't only improve one's cultivation base, but it could also improve the physique, increasing the toughness of the body. If she continued to drink it long-term, then her body refining manual definitely would benefit from it a lot. Moreover, the entire body of the blood thorn vine was a treasure. Aside from the blood thorn sac that could be used, the vine from the taproot could also be used to refine magic tools as it was extremely tough, and was a main material that numerous smiths dreamt of. Both the bloodthorn's sac and the bloodthorn's main vine was in short supply outside. As long as they appeared on the market, then they'd inevitably cause a frenzied scramble for it. And it could also be sold at high prices at auctions. Lu Muyan's eyes were filled with smiles. Mo Yan. This time we're going to make a fortune. Mo Yin looked at the sky speechlessly. Did this woman become a money grubber? Even Bing Ji couldn't resist twitching his mouth. Wasn't little owner's focus a little wrong? Only Meow Meow kept rubbing against Lu Muyen to show her support. In its heart, owner was always right. Whether you make a fortune or not, I don't know right now, but you're definitely in danger. Mo Yin looked up and solemnly watched the twinkling golden lights ahead of them rolling towards them like waves in the sea. When the golden lights approached, one could tell that they were actually numerous blood thorn vines with spikes protruding from them. Chapter 158. Danger strikes. As Mo Yan's voice fell, Lu Muyen raised her head and saw rolls upon rolls of golden vines rushing towards them like tides and mighty waves. What? How come there's so many popping out again? Mui stared at the sight in front of him, stunned. Yi Qinghan's expression was also exceptionally ugly. These human-eating blood thorn vines are being controlled. What's controlling it? Shifeng asked in befuddlement as he waved the huge axe made from fire elemental energy condensation. He and Mui, one was an alchemist, one was a smith, and they didn't go out a lot throughout the year, so they didn't know much about demonic plants. The shriek just now was the voice of the human-eating blood thorn vine king. These golden vines should be its branches. Yi Qinghan explained. Then how can we break through? Mui returned to his senses and immediately poured out a pill that replenished elemental energy, then used his fire snake against the golden vines that were rapidly extending in front of him. Yi Qinghan's eyes were solemn, and his tone was helpless. We must find the place where the human-eating blood thorn vine king is and kill it to get out of the trap. Otherwise these blood thorn vines will be like weeds, unable to be burnt completely. At this time, the few people formed a small circle, constantly fighting against the golden vines that were as if they were bearing fangs and brandishing claws. Be careful not to get pierced by the thorns on the vines, otherwise your body will be paralyzed for a period of time. Although it's only a few breaths, but after losing your combat ability, you'll become their food. What Yi Qinghan comprehended wasn't the fire attribute elemental energy, so he could only caution everyone while wielding his longsword without giving up, keeping the mentality that however many he could cut was how many that counted. Mobilizing the fire element condensation to battle took a lot of elemental energy and physical strength. Shifeng and the others continued to take pills as sweat covered their foreheads, and they began to struggle. Lu Muyen's face slightly sunk. Her two hands kept pinching seals, and not long after, a fiery red light cover appeared, enveloping the few people and enclosing them within. A wave of heat hit the surrounding space and fires fell from the sky, all smashing against the golden vines and tendrils that were attempting to attack the flame shield. Squeak! Several shrill shrieks came from within the depths of the vines covered in flames. The golden vines that hadn't been burnt to ashes retreated one after another, hovering not far away, swaying the vines to express indignation. On the narrow path, Lu Muyen and the others formed a stalemate with the golden-colored vines. The few people were trapped in a small circle by the vines from all directions, and even if they wanted to escape, they couldn't rush out. Lu Muyen took out a few bottles of spiritual energy replenishing pills and threw them to the others. Quickly replenish your elemental energy. Their new wave of attack is coming soon. After she finished speaking, she picked up a porcelain bottle and poured pills ceaselessly into her mouth. The spiritual energy replenishing pills melted the moment they entered her mouth, and the spiritual energy flowed through the meridians in her entire body to replenish her dantian. But this wasn't a good way to continue. Even if she had a lot of spiritual energy replenishing pills, but it wouldn't be able to stand such usage. These golden-colored vines were simply an endless cycle of dying then returning. Furthermore, their elemental energy could be replenished with pills, but it was difficult for their physical body to keep up. Suddenly, a few sturdy human-eating blood thorn vines drilled out from beneath Yi Qinghan and Yunlan's foot, swiftly entangled their feet, then dragged them down. Be careful underground. Mo Yen and Bing Ji's voice echoed in Lu Muyan's sea of consciousness at the same time. Lu Muyan's eyes grew cold. Her mental energy was dormant, so she couldn't detect the fluctuations underground at all. Not to mention the human-eating bloodthorn vine was exceptionally skilled in concealing its aura. Even when Mo Yen and Bingji noticed and reminded everyone, they were also a step too late. Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan were already dragged into the ground by the vines that had suddenly emerged and wrapped around their foot. Qinghan Yun Lan. Shocked, Mui quickly mobilized the fire snake to burn the thick vines. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, but a scene that made them all slightly despair occurred. The condensed fire elemental energy burning on the few vines that emitted a dark golden light were completely useless. They could only helplessly watch the two being dragged away and disappear. Lu Muyen furrowed her brows. It seemed that these thick dark golden vines were the main force. She mobilized the spiritual energy of her entire body, pinched seals and let out a soft yell. Rise! A giant lifelike fire dragon rose from behind her and roared into the air, then dived into the ground where Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan just disappeared from. Will they be all right? Mu Yi used his mental energy to probe underground but found nothing. Ling Fei Yong knitted his brows tightly. There's no life-threatening concerns for now, but that human-eating blood thornvine demonic plant already bore intelligence, so it must be difficult to deal with. That demonic plant could see that what Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan comprehended wasn't the fire attribute elemental energy law, so they weren't a big threat to it. But they were the easiest to catch, so it snuck from underground to attack, and as expected, it succeeded. Lu Muyen took out 2 more bottles of pills and kept pouring them into her mouth. Then her eyes sharpened, and she enhanced the light cover with fire elemental energy again. The golden-colored vines that were waving about and slapping as if they were baring fangs and brandishing claws were completely blocked outside the light enclosure. But the golden-colored vines weren't giving up as they continued to slap, tentatively attempting to pierce the flame cover. The 3 of them saw Lu Muyan's complexion start to turn pale, and a layer of dense sweat rose on her nose. They also knew that she couldn't maintain the flame cover for long, so after quickly consuming the spiritual energy replenishing pills, they mobilized their fire elemental energy to help support the light cover together. A faint despair was also born unconsciously in their hearts. Would they perish here today? However, all of them were determined and tenacious. They quickly tossed that kind of despair behind them. No one could tell the result until the very last moment. In order to survive, they couldn't lose their confidence. Lu Muyen saw that the 3 people's condensed fire elemental energy was just enough to maintain the functioning of the fire light cover. She looked deeply in the direction where the 2 had been dragged away and said, "You all hold on for a moment. I'll come back as soon as possible." After speaking, she didn't wait for anyone to answer either. She used her spiritual energy to mobilize 2 flying swords, placing them in front of her, and drilled into the ground where the 2 people were dragged away. The flying swords kept spinning, stirring up the surrounding soil as she chased in the direction of the fire Aragon's aura. She had seen the introduction of the blood thornvine on the Tianling continent's demonic beast and demonic plants record. She found that this type of blood thornvine's habits were almost the same as the blood thornvines in the immortal cultivation world, so she could use the same method to deal with it. She once obtained a recipe for brewing bloodsack wine in the inheritance of the heavenly great alchemist, so she had searched for the human-eating blood thorn vine in the spiritual world for ages. Ultimately, hard work didn't let down those who tried, and she found a king, then used a means to suppress it and made it surrender. At this time, although her cultivation base wasn't as high as the human-eating bloodthorn vine, but she had some confidence in dealing with it. After all, her blood sack wine was still waiting for the bloodthorn sack of this human-eating bloodthorn vine king to be put in the pot. No matter how difficult it was, even if she had to use her all and her trump cards, she would definitely defeat it. Of course, not wanting Yi Qinghan and the others to die here was an important reason and determination for why she didn't want to, and couldn't, give up. Squeak. The harsh, high-pitched screams echoed continuously. Lu Muyan's heart tightened. Then she sped up, going deeper underground. Not good. Yi Qinghan and Yun Lan were entangled, and were about to approach the main body of the human-eating blood thornvine king. Danger. Translated product by May Come True. Chapter 159. Arrange Array's Antrap. When Lu Muyen heard that excited call, her heart tightened. She mobilized her spiritual energy to gather into her longswords, quickly chasing the fire dragon. After going a further few hundred meters deeper underground, the fire dragon shifted its direction, and Lu Muyen followed closely behind. After a while, the fire dragon chased upwards with a swish. It seems like the human-eating blood-thorn vine king is right up there, Bing Ji said while looking at the place not far away. Lu Muyen had a deep chill in her eyes. If this demon vine dared to touch Yiqing Han and Yun Lan, then she wouldn't want its blood-thorn sac anymore. Only by burning it could she relieve her hatred. However, she didn't chase in the direction of the fire dragon again, but instead ceaselessly formed newer territory ahead. Little owner, are you not going to chase in the direction of the fire dragon? The human-eating blood-thorn vine king is right on top, Bing Ji asked in confusion. Lu Muyen mobilized the double swords forward while saying, I naturally have my own way to deal with it. Bing Ji rolled his eyes. The target was just above. How could she deal with if she came here instead and didn't follow it upwards? Mo Yan's eyes were still indifferent, but it hid an understanding. You want to try destroying its roots? As expected, Mo Yan is smart, Lu Muyen said. Bing Ji glared at Mo Yan. This kid would just always come out to please people at the critical moments. Mo Yan replied with a cold look, and Bing Ji instantly felt that the feathers on his body were about to stand up on its ends. This damned spirit devourer had race suppression against him. Finally, he cursed Mo Yan in his heart repeatedly, and only then did he feel more comfortable. As Lu Muyen was moving forward, a sliver of spiritual sense was also attached to the fire dragon. After knowing that the dark golden vines entangled the two of them and dragged them to the place above, but didn't do anything for the time being, she gently sighed with relief. While mobilizing the fire dragon to hover over the two people's heads, readying it to fight with the human-eating blood-thorn vine king, she also stopped in a place. What entered her eye was the thick root system wrapped in dark golden-colored bark. Each root system also had countless red threads, just like blood vessels. The root system had been extended to a very deep underground place, and spiritual force was being absorbed by its root system incessantly. Lu Muyen's eyes sharpened. Without any hesitation, she flipped her right hand and a cluster of purple golden-colored flames jumped out of her palm, prepared to act. Who knew that this demon tree is only at initial phase Tier 6 cultivation base? Bing Ji scanned the aura of the demonic plant opposite him, pursed his lips and said casually. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. Demonic plants have it much harder in cultivating than demonic beasts. Initial phase Tier 6 strength isn't at all weaker than a late phase Tier 6 demonic beast. Not to mention that it's a king. In order for a plant to become a spurt and gain intelligence was hundreds or even thousands of times more difficult than demonic beasts. That's why demonic plants were exceptionally rare. Each high-level demonic plant birthed could basically sweep out demonic beasts at the same tier. A demonic beast could transform into human form at Tier 7 while demonic plants needed to be at Tier 8. At Tier 6 it could only communicate using demonic sense, and only at Tier 7 could it speak the human language. Each step was a tier slower, but its strength was even stronger. It was useless to deal with such a demonic plant using ordinary fire elemental energy. Of course, if it were a human sword master 2 stages higher than a demonic plant, and who could use fire elemental energy, then they could definitely cause damage towards it. Her cultivation level wasn't enough, so the only thing that could restrain it was mutant flames. If she hadn't subdued the purple golden spirit flame, then she wouldn't dare rush in so easily and take abuse herself. After all, although she had the ability to challenge higher stages, but the demonic plant also had that ability, and it was countless times more difficult to deal with than her. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. She noticed that a powerful aura appeared above, directly waving its vines and sent the bound Yiqing Han and Yun Lan towards it. The fire dragon kept burning the dark golden-colored vines, but it was of little use. Go. So she said without hesitation, and the purple gold spirit flame was as if it had come alive, turning into a blooming purple peony, and floated out. As soon as the peony touched the main root system of the human-eating blood-thorn vine king, The other party shrank swiftly as if it had seen a ghost, but it was too large and could barely move a few steps. Crackle! Several sounds of burning vines resounded, and a faint burnt smell spread in the underground soil. Squeak squeak! A loud and shrill cry sounded. The sturdy tree roots that intertwined deep in the ground actually broke away from the soil and flicked in Lu Muyan's direction as if it had come alive, one by one. There was also a very indignant demonic-sensed telepathic voice that was heard. Human, today I must tear you into thousands of pieces. It had been 1,000 years. He had never suffered such humiliation and pain. The power of the flame just now made him feel strong danger. He must kill this danger. Meanwhile, also kill the human that dared to set him on fire, tearing them into countless pieces of flesh and blood to serve as the nourishment for his roots. Just with you, an ugly demonic plant. Lu Muyan huffed coldly, flipped her hands, and numerous purple peonies instantly floated down. When they met the tree roots that were flicking towards her, they fell piece by piece from the stamens and melted into the dark golden-colored tree roots. Screech screech! A few more shrieks sounded. All the tree roots that were merged with the purple golden petals made a crackle sound, accompanied by a burning smell. Damned human, if you have the guts then come up and fight me head-on. The human-eating blood thornvine king was extremely angry, but could do nothing. That purple-colored spirit flame was the nemesis of all them demonic plants, and they'll become trash the moment they touch it. Just now, when his huge root system touched the flame, it had become completely unable to regenerate. His heart was bleeding. Those were the root systems on which he depended for survival. Pfft! Lu Muyan sneered, and the movements of her hands didn't stop as she specifically attacked the relatively weaker roots using the purple gold spirit flame. Do you think him a fool? You deserve to die. The human-eating blood thornvine king was truly infuriated this time. He retrieved the root that he was about to attack Lu Muyan with. The roots of the tree suddenly began to change, becoming shorter and thinner. He was the blood thornvine king, so he naturally occupied the place with the most abundant spiritual force and could also move at will. Now that he was restrained by the purple flames, he could only shorten and shrink his rhizomes so that the human couldn't easily burn them. Lu Muyan sneered and condensed several Taoist seals in midair, shooting them one by one to the place that the tree roots of the human-eating blood thornvine king had occupied before. Seal. After forming the last Taoist seal with her hands, she slapped it down hard. More than a dozen jade-colored runes emerged from all directions, intertwining together to form a dense net from all sides, trapping the human-eating blood thornvine king that had shrunk countless times within. When she first saw such huge rhizomes earlier, she just knew that it'd be too laborious to deal with the human-eating blood thornvine king. By just relying on the purple gold spirit flame, it was easy to escape by just shrinking the entire tree root like he did. So from the moment she entered here, she hid her hands in her sleeves, pinching seals and arranging talisman arrays. As long as the human-eating blood thornvine king was trapped and couldn't move to escape or attack her in wide ranges, she could make him obedient. As her voice fell, the dense net of jade-colored rays of light flourished in all directions and turned into a high wall of dozens of meters, circling with runes, compressing towards the human-eating blood thornvine king. Come true that you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.